こいつは楽しめそうだ。
Fighters ready. Engage.
All right. Movie 186 back again with another podcast, the Overrated Podcast, episode 41. I am your co-host, Hoovy 186. This is a late addition to the podcast because I wasted my time watching not only the Miami Heat lose, which is not the end of the world. We'll discuss that a little bit later. But the Florida Panthers, their season's over. They got swept by Tampa Bay Lightning, so it's been a bad sports day for me. But
Well,
yeah.
you have to remember, Tampa Bay is still in Florida, so you still have hope.
You want me to curse right now?
Yeah, I mean, look, Tampa Bay is only a couple hours away from us, so I mean, you still have a cheer, you have a team to go by, you still have a team to cheer for, so you'll be fine.
You want me to curse right now?
And I just had to say that. I just had to say that. But this is the traditionalist 101. And as you said, this is a late podcast, but it's still better late than never. And it was obviously due to the fact that we were watching the Heat game. It was originally Hoobie 186 idea. And, I said, yeah, sure, why not, whatever. But at the end of the day, though, we still have a couple of things to discuss. And I know you're not a happy camper.
No, I'm fine.
But
I'm fine. I'm fine.
but
I'm fine.
but 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 at least Miami Heat, the Heat, their season is still alive. It looks like we are going to be getting a game 7. I'm
Well,
excited for that.
I think it's gonna go 7, but you gotta wait. We're still. It's still game 5. We're still heading into game 5.
Well, it's a guarantee that we're going to have a game 6. That's guaranteed.
Obviously, yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is, but I believe we are going to a game 7. I think it's going to go to 7 games. Who do I think is going to win? I have no idea. But we still have, things to, talk about when it comes to that series and the other series.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I guess is there any before we get the podcast started, I made a video a couple days ago talking about Xbox news. Xbox been in the news a lot lately. Some good, a lot of it bad though. Just a lot of this weird news, and then let me show you this tweet. Let me show you this tweet. I'm gonna share this real quick with you. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get the screen share on. Let me show you this tweet. All right. So right now I'm on Twitter right now. Um, let me look for it. Search. Okay. Okay. All right. It should be here, right here. Okay. All right. I'm gonna show you two pictures. Right. Are you
Mm-hmm.
looking at it right now? Hold
Yeah.
on. Okay. Now this is an article from Kotaku, right? This is the article saying after years of hype, the Xbox Game Pass burnout is here, which pretty much explained that apparently there's a lot of people who announced that they were unsubscribing to Game Pass for whatever reason, and like this is an article that was, I guess, critical of Game Pass, and this all stems from the delay of Starfield and Redfall, and then this is the Xbox Game Pass account, right?
Yeah.
And this is what the account responding to Kotaku what was. Tell me you limit yourself to only AAA games without telling me you limit yourself to only AAA games. And now, for those of you who don't understand, did like pretty much what they're saying, what this game Xbox Game Pass account is saying. This is legit. This is an account that is run by Microsoft. Right? They have multiple accounts. They have, obviously Microsoft. They have the Xbox account. And this is Xbox Game Pass account. Right? But what the thing is saying is they're criticizing Kotaku for calling out Microsoft for not providing any real AAA games on the service for the year. Right?
Yeah.
And this is their response, and everyone went crazy over it. And you know how it is when it comes to that type of stuff. And my video touches on some of that Xbox discontent. So like I said, if you follow me on Hoovy186 on YouTube, and you'll see the video. All right. So what have you done on your channel?
Um. Well, first off, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you're not moving.
Yeah. Yeah. Something is going on with my camera, and I cannot believe it's happening now. But as long as you can hear me, I guess that's fine. But I am gonna see if I could fix the camera.
Okay.
But yeah, pretty much all I've really been doing was just work for the
Mhm.
whole entire time, and then um, do you remember me posting? Yeah, you remember me posting pictures on Twitter about me taking pictures with um, of JC David Frank. The
Mhm.
Power Ranger. The original Green Ranger and White Ranger. And from what I found out, just the week after, I found out that Austin, who was the original Red Ranger,
Mhm.
got
And
in trouble.
if I remember correctly, he was the leader of the Power Rangers in the beginning, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah,
Man, that's
he,
crazy.
yeah, he was the leader of the original Power Rangers. And then from what I found out, based on the news,
Mhm.
it was all because of fraud.
Mhm.
That's what he got arrested for pretty much for fraud.
Mhm.
And you can still hear me, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Something seems to be wrong with my internet. It looks like something is wrong.
Can
you,
you hear
you,
me?
yeah, I can hear you perfectly, but I think there is something that's going on. So you continue on. I'll be right back for 1 second. 1 second.
Okay. All right. Well, while he fixes his internet, I guess let's go back to Twitter. Let me read some of these. Let me read some of these responses and comments and stuff like that. All right. So let's go back. Yeah. So this has been going on all day. They made this tweet, and then yeah, man, it's been crazy, man. It's been crazy. That's the tweet right here. Let me see if I can find. Let me click on this tweet and then see the responses. Broken Game Day. This you, and this gamer blush out to him. Why pay you 180 a year to rent indie games instead of actually buying and supporting these games with that money? Hold on, let me check on the main channel. I know I gotta make sure when Steve's come back, I'll prop him in. All right, let's go back to the tweets. And Lucas said Pony's pretending to be offended by this. Let me see. I don't know what this is. And then Let's see. Yeah, this is a bunch of like this fodder for fanboys and stuff like that, and Larry Herb showing his support. So yeah, so it was a crazy it was just a crazy tweet, crazy just a crazy couple weeks for Microsoft. I'm gonna click on the wrong thing. Yeah, this is a crazy couple weeks for Microsoft. To me, I don't really have much of an opinion on it. It's just I just think that right now they're in the middle of a transition when it comes to buying Bethesda and buying Activision, which is not final yet. Games take time, so they're gonna have to wait till the games come out. You know what I mean? Like just how it is. And like I said, if people who've been on Xbox for years, they don't feel satisfied by the offerings of the console, they have a right to say so. But I also think that you do have to be a little bit more realistic about what they can do. You know what I mean? Right now, and things could change in the next couple of months, couple of years. So this depends on what you're waiting for. All right, so everything seems to be okay, right?
Yeah, I don't know what was going on, but yeah, it looks like the internet is fine and it's working the way it's supposed to. You can continue on. It looked like what you're saying was interesting.
Yeah, I was just saying that when it comes to Microsoft, they're in a transition when it comes to the studios they bought, and games take a while to make. So in order for them to get their stuff in order, people are gonna have to be patient. And if you don't feel like you need to be patient because you waited all this time, I can't blame people for that. I can't blame nobody for that.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much all I really have to say about that. You have anything you want to share before we get started on the podcast?
Yeah, so just so everyone could get a quick visual, this is pretty much what I was talking about. Um, just real quick. I was gonna show my Twitter account, but just be real quick about it. I don't know if you could see it,
Yeah, I see it.
but pretty much here's the headline: Red Ranger actor Austin St. John charged in wire fraud, conspiracy, and indictment. And just reading, the first part, it says Austin St. John, who suited up as Red Ranger in the '90s Mighty Morphin Power Ranger series, has been arrested for wire fraud conspiracy, according to the Department of Justice. And a Wednesday press release, St. John, whose legal name is Jason Lawrence Gregor, I think that's how you say it, was
Tiger.
Geiger.
Mm-hmm.
Geiger was among 18 named in the indictment that accused the defendants of defrauding a small business association paycheck protection program, obtaining at least 3.5 million in fraudulent funding. Now, here's the thing. I want to make this real quick. So this is him right here in the center. Like you said, he was the leader of the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. This was obviously before Jason David Frank came into the series, because these were the original five before the Green Ranger came along. But he was obviously the leader, and from what I've found out, even currently, I think his net worth is like 20 million, like plus 20 million.
20 million. What the hell he done after since then?
Um, he's actually done a lot. I know he had his own dojo. He did do a couple of other shows and things of that nature, but yeah, surprisingly, yeah, his net worth was actually 20 million. And before we get started, I don't want to read all of this because I know this is not really related to gaming. But the thing that I'm really confused by is this just goes to show, at least for me, that regardless of what your net worth is, regardless of how much money that you have, people will just continue to act stupid and do stupid stuff. How is it that somebody who's a millionaire wants to, commit fraud? Like you put you and the part that disappoints me the most is because, obviously I was a, huge Power Ranger fan when I was growing up, and I liked him too. But the only issue, that I'm constantly having, with these athletes, with these, actors, people who are well established, right? I could never figure out. You put the hard work and the dedication and the commitment to get where you were or to get where you currently are. So why stoop to, breaking the law now? Like you already put all the hard work, to reach a nice financial stature, but then you decided to do something like this. It really, really disappoints me that someone who I grew up watching ever since I was a kid, and to see news like this where you participating in fraud, stealing other people's money, and you have money, like you have money. I really just, don't get it. But this is pretty much, the link here. Like again, I don't really want to read, the whole entire thing. I just wanted to give you just the gist of it. He's basically arrested with 18 other people for fraud, and that's really sad. Do you have anything to add before we start?
Mm-mm. No, not really.
Okay, so that just goes to show that, not everyone is perfect. I understand that we make mistakes, we do things that we aren't supposed to be doing, but in my personal opinion, when you have money, there's no excuse. There's absolutely no excuse for you to commit crimes when your bank account is full of ones and zeros. Like I just don't buy it. I don't get it. Hopefully he's not guilty. Hopefully this is all a mistake, but I don't know. But yeah, let's move on, with the playoffs.
All right. So as we were saying before, the Heat game, didn't turn out well for me, but at the end of the day, you can say that we got what we needed, right? We got the game in Boston, and ultimately, it's a best of three now,
What do you
right?
mean by you got what you needed?
You got to win in Boston, right? The series was up 1-1. They stole home court, and you needed to win at least win one of these games in Boston, and you did, and you did. So
Well, yeah, they did do that, which is good. You retrieve home court advantage again, but for you to get a butt whooping like this is pretty much unexcusable, in my opinion. I understand that, people are banged up, people are hurt, and people are not 100% healthy. I get it, but at the end of the day, though, this is an opportunity for you to reach the NBA finals. The finals. This is not the first round. This is the for the Eastern Conference champion, and you play like that is is mind boggling, and I'm pretty sure a lot of Heat fans is going to start asking some questions for that type of performance
they
that
are
they.
they do that all the time. They even do that in the win, right? So that's not a surprise. Um, I mean, look, they played like shit offensively. And it doesn't help that the referees pretty much called everything for Boston. So what can you do? You know what I mean? Like it just every time Jason Tatum frailed, they call it foul. They call it foul. So what can you do?
You
At the
think
end
that
of
was
the day,
you think so? You think the officials got involved too much?
absolutely. Look at the free throw disparity was like at one point was 28-6. And the funny thing is, it was just as bad last the previous game three, just as bad game three.
I honestly believe that, like how people used to say, the ones who are aggressive, the one who takes the ball to the hoop more, get more calls. That's pretty much how it
I
is.
don't I don't think that was the case here. Game four, like game four, sure, I'll give him that, but Game three, that was not the case. Miami was all over them, and then that's when the officials started blowing the calls.
Uh,
Started making the calls. But it is what it is. It's 2-2. It's pretty much is the best of three. And I said Heat in seven, and I'm gonna stick by that. I just hope that I just hope that I just hope that everyone, like, obviously Hero didn't play. Um I know, yeah, Hero didn't play. Um what else? I know Jimmy's hurt. Everyone, like you said, everyone's hurt right now.
yes.
But like I said, I trust in the C team. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I still got Heat in seven. What you got?
Yeah, I don't know. I actually want to know who I will be able to make an easier pick. Whoever wins the next game, whoever wins the next game, I believe wins the series.
Well, the funny thing is, when Milwaukee when Milwaukee beat um Boston, I thought they were gonna win the series.
Oh, you know what? That's right. I did too.
Yeah,
I
like,
did too. I thought that Boston was completely demoralized when the Bucks won. What was it? Game five.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, when they came back and won, that was just an unbelievable win. That was probably one of the best games I've seen um, this playoff season.
Yeah,
Best game,
yeah.
best game.
So, like I said, I wouldn't really consider that a guarantee of winning Game Five. But even though I do get what you're saying, now Ethan in the chat, shout out to Ethan. Thank you for watching. Does the Mavs have any chance of winning the series? No, they do not. Um, they do not. You might as well just talk about this series right now.
Yeah, yeah, they absolutely do not. The Mavs has absolutely no chance. Do I think that they could possibly push it to a game five? Well, I mean, it's really tough. I want to say yes because if you remember the conversation we had, a few weeks ago, when I told you, because I believe you thought that the Heat was going to sweep Atlanta, but I knew that Trey Young, with his you know ability and talent, I knew that they were going to win at least one game because of him. Superstars are just capable of doing things like that, and I honestly believe that crap, I forgot what's his name.
Jason Tatum,
No. I'm talking about for the Mavs. Luca.
Luka. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he could do the exact same thing. I think he is good enough. 'Cause when you think about it, there is at least one game that they should have won. That they should,
Game two.
yeah, they should have won that game. So I think he's good enough for them to at least push it to at least 5 games at the very least. So although the series is over, I would be very surprised if they actually give up and actually get swept. I
Yeah.
think I think Luca is good enough to push it to 5 games, maybe even 6, but at the very least 5 games.
No, I agree. I do think that they can win at least one game. I don't think I don't think they're winning the series. I don't think ultimately they don't have enough. Like, Golden State is just that good. They're that deep. They're that talented. And like, there's nothing to be. If you're Dallas, you have nothing to be ashamed of. You have nothing to be ashamed of. Just see what you can do with Bronson. I don't think he's gonna be there next year. I think he's gonna get paid. You just get more talent around them. Around Luca. That's pretty much it. I mean, the Warriors. They're pretty much, they have their ticket stamped. They just gotta go to the counter. That's it. They get in and win one more game and you're in the finals.
Yeah, and what's his name? The guy with the, I think his name is Butlock, whatever, Bullock, whatever his name is,
Reggie Bullock.
with the crazy hairdo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Reggie Buller.
I don't know how the heck he's able to see with his hair looking like that. I don't know how that dude is able to see. But anyway,
You remember when Ephraim Payton got into the league and how stupid his hair looked?
yeah, yeah,
The best decision he ever made was cutting that.
yeah.
This is ridiculous.
I never ever in my life would think of something so. I mean, it just looks so.
Stupid.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
And,
Yeah.
and, and you know who else I feel this way about?
Who?
Anthony Davis with the brow.
Anthony Davis?
Yeah, with the stupid unibrow bullshit that he does.
Oh, okay.
It's so stupid. Like that shit looks ridiculous.
Yeah, don't. I mean, I'm always full of different styles. What you could do with your hair and things like that. But don't start looking like a freaking hoodlum. Yeah, like, I don't like it. I don't like it. But he absolutely did nothing last game. I believe he played around almost nearly like over 30 minutes, and he had 0 points. That's unacceptable.
That's the struggle that Dallas has against Golden State. You know, you have Luca, and then you have everybody else. You know, and you look at Golden State, they have Steph, they have Clay, they have Jordan Poole, they have Andrew Wiggins, and they have Draymond. And Draymond really doesn't do that much offensively. He's more of a defense that he's good at. But you have all this talent around, and you really have nothing to combat that.
Yeah.
You don't have the depth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
and Maxi Kleber, he needs to step up too. I think he also had 0 points.
I mean, but it's Maxi Kleber. Like, come on,
No, but
he
I've
is who
told,
he is.
I, yeah, but I've
He's a
told
guy.
you I've told you this many times before. If you're going to be on the court in the playoffs, and then they give you over 20 minutes, 25 minutes, nearly 30 minutes, and you produce nothing, no, you sit back down on the bench and you don't come back on the court anymore. Because you saw how I went off when it came to George Hill. You saw how I went off, and I'm on the verge of doing the exact same thing. You cannot perform like that in the playoffs. You cannot expect anybody. I don't care if you're a star, a superstar, an all-star, or just a role player. You have 20 plus minutes and you score 0 points. Unacceptable.
I mean, he's a guy. Like they have a bunch of guys around Luca. Like they just need to strengthen the team around Luca, and they'll be fine. They'll be fine. They're not winning the series, but they'll be fine.
Then they won't be fine. Then if they're not going to win this series, they're not fine.
I agree, but they're not beating Golden State anyway. So all they gotta do is just rebuild for the future. That's it. Rebuild for the future. Anointed 1988 said, "Yo, yeah, thank you for the shout out." All right. Well, I mean, we pretty much covered all the playoff stuff. You want to get to your topic?
Yeah, it's not really that long because the article is pretty short. I saw another article, but I'm just going to stick with this one. But before I get there, quickly, who's winning the next game out of the two out of the four teams? Who's winning the next game?
I think Miami wins Game 5, and I think Dallas wins Game 4.
I think Boston wins Game 5,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Dallas, yeah, wins Game 4. Yeah, so we're both on a disagreement when it comes to the East.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Boston is going to win. I have a slight feeling that it is going to be Miami, but the way how I've seen Butler play, not based on his performance, but his movement, and I don't know what's the status, with Tyler Hero is. I
Yeah,
don't think.
yeah. I do want to know that too. Just want to say, Anointed 1988. Thank you for the subscription. Thank you.
Oh, he subscribed to our channel.
Mhm.
Oh, appreciate you, brother, man.
Yeah. So yeah. That is true. Like, cause Butler didn't look like himself today, and Tyler, he's been struggling lately, but he had the injury.
Yeah, and so that's the reason why I honestly believe Miami is going to lose the next game based on those guys.
Yeah.
Because Brown didn't play that well either, and they still
No,
won. They still dominated the game.
yeah, that's
He
true.
they and you got Marcus Smart, who didn't play either.
Yeah,
So I based on the evidence that I've seen today, and based of how many people who are missing, I have to go with Boston. Based on that, not because that they're better overall or anything like that. I just think based on availability, Boston's going to win the next game.
yeah,
Boston's going to win the next game. And as far as the next one, um, I think that Dallas will go to a game five only because of Luca. I think Luca is that good, dominant of a player to where they could at the very least extend the game to series to 5 games at the very least. But with all that being said, right? There is something that I want to share real quick.
before you do, Nolan said that he got Miami and Dallas next game.
Also, so it looks like he is in agreement with you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And look, I'm not saying that you're wrong, Nolan. Like I understand why you're picking, Miami, but like I just said earlier, just a few seconds ago, I think based on availability, purely just on availability, I think Boston's going to win. Because again, we don't know the status of Tyler Hero. Butler doesn't look healthy at all. Um, Duncan Robinson, played like squat. That dude hasn't been doing anything. So I honestly think that based on availability, I think Boston's going to win the next game. But I think Miami's going to win the game after. But I don't want to get way too ahead of myself.
Yeah. All right, go ahead with your topic.
Okay, so the next topic, it's pretty much about uh, Shaquille O'Neal basically gave a couple of comments about Kevin Durant. Now, you know how I feel about Kevin Durant.
Yeah, you hate him.
You keep saying, that I hate him. And a lot of people say that I hate him, but it's not me hating Kevin Durant. I just hate what he did. That's all I say. I just hate what he did. I don't hate him as a person. I don't even hate him as a player. I just don't like, what he did, and it just made me no longer, a fan, of, Kevin Durant as a basketball player anymore. That's all. But here's basically what happened. So let me share this article, and I think what Shaq said was actually very, very profound. Very profound. Let me know if you can see this.
You good?
Okay, so Kevin Durant, this is quote basically what Shaq said verbatim. Kevin Durant hasn't achieved anything after leaving Steph Curry. Shaq's post on IG mocking KD's achievements post Warriors era, and you know something like this is one of the reasons why I always like Shaquille O'Neal. After he retired, same thing with Charles Barkley, because these guys, they don't sugarcoat anything. They don't care about being your friend. They don't care about trying to be in good relationship with these current players. They don't care about that. Their job is to actually give out what their opinions are, express how they feel, and also try to be objective at the exact same time. And I think that's one of the reasons why TNT is just amazing TV. It's an outstanding, sports channel. It's funny, and these guys, they don't sugarcoat at all. Like they really express how they feel about a particular player. They'll go off on a particular player, and I think that's just really good for TV. We need more of that, but everybody just wants to be all soft, and yeah, that's just not my taste. But this is pretty much a short article. But Kevin Durant was actively chirping on Twitter last night, and it looks Shaq found some time. He put up a story suggesting Steph is better. Now, before I continue reading on, this was something that I've told you for the past few years, even during the time Kevin Durant was in Golden State. I've tried to tell you, I've tried to tell people on Twitter, people at my jobs that Steph Curry was the better player than Kevin Durant. I've
You're
always
wrong. You're wrong, but that's fine.
I've always said that. And the reason why I know I'm right and that you are wrong is because even you have said that Steph Curry was the best player in the league.
At
You
one
said,
point,
okay, you said that. You did.
yeah, at one point,
So, in order for him to be the best player in the league, that means he was also better than Kevin Durant. Yes
yeah,
or
at
no?
one point.
Okay. How in the world did that change when Kevin Durant went to Golden State? Suddenly, Kevin Durant is the better player just because he went to a different team? That doesn't make any sense to me. What changed? He did Kevin Durant just instantly became better than Steph Curry because Steph Curry lost the finals to LeBron James? When did the transition happen? Before I continue on, that's what I want to know. If Steph Curry was the best player in the league and he was better than Kevin Durant, when did Kevin Durant become a better player?
Okay. When it comes to these things, change from time to time. Okay. If you're someone like Steph Curry who dominated the league for, I'd probably say 2016. Like he had really good years prior, but 2016 was the year where he everything worked out for him. The team was fantastic, and they ended up winning the championship against Cleveland. Right? I can easily make an argument that they were the best team, and he was the best player because he affected the game in a way that we hadn't seen before with the way his shooting ability and all that other stuff. Now, even back then, if I had to pick a player to start my franchise, here I would have picked LeBron ahead of Steph Curry. I would have picked KD ahead of Steph Curry. I would have picked Kawhi Leonard over Steph Curry. I would have picked Kevin Durant over Steph Curry.
Yeah, you said Kevin Durant already.
I said Kevin Durant. All right, I know I had a name in my head. I had okay, so I had LeBron, Kawhi, KD. I mean, there's some other guys too. And the main reason why had nothing to do with the lack of greatness that I feel Steph Curry has. Has nothing to do with that at all. To me, in my opinion, I've always felt that in order for you to start a basketball team, you need a guy who is a playmaker offensively and someone who can be dominant defensively. Who's a great two-way player. And as great as Steph Curry is, he's not a two-way player. He's not. I can acknowledge that his game elevated the Golden State Warriors. Absolutely. Absolutely did. And I can say that he's playing the best out of anybody right now. And if you're playing the best out of everybody, then you're the best right now. But if for me, the true litmus test of who is the best player in the world is who you would start a franchise with. And even during that time, I would say he was in my personal no, based on the accomplishments, I would put him in the top 5. But as far as who I would start a franchise with, he's probably in the lower tier of the top of my top 5, or even probably even top 10. Because for me, I put a value on two-way players, on dominant two-way players, and Steph Curry is not one of those players.
Neither is Kevin Durant.
I think he has he's more of a two-way player than Steph Curry has ever been.
I don't think so.
Yeah, he is. Yes, he has.
Steph Curry's defense is underrated to me.
Okay, that's fine, but it ain't nothing. It's not what you're known for. You ain't watching Golden State to watch him play defense.
Yeah, but he could defend. All this mumbo jumbo of the media saying that he's not a good defender
You
is
said
all.
you said the same thing about James Harden. So I don't hear it.
It's hogwash.
You say the same thing about James Harden.
Listen,
And James Harden
I was
is a notoriously awful defender.
I've always been consistent when I talked about James Harden. I said on the post he could defend. On the post, I always been specific about that. So you mentioning him doesn't hold water because
No,
I've
because
been specific.
you put more value into offensive players than you do defensive players. That's fine, and that's fine. I put more value into two-way players.
If that's the case, Kevin Durant should not be on that list. If that's what your value is, Kevin Durant should not be on that list. He's not a two-way player.
I mean,
He's an offensive player, and his defense to me is overrated.
okay, I don't feel that way. So
Yeah. So let me continue on. So Kevin Durant had a playoff run to forget. He managed to take a seventh seed Brooklyn Nets to the playoffs, but were slain by the hands of Jason Tatum and the Celtics. They got washed 4-0. The Nets could not win a single game, and a lot of questions about Durant's credibility arose. While they are yet to be answered, Kevin has not been silent. He has been out tweeting his thoughts and engaging in internet debates. The only problem is that their sweep all but confirmed one fact: Kevin Durant without Steph is worse off. And here's the thing, right, when it comes to this.
hmm.
Kevin Durant, as I told you before, Kevin Durant should have never gone to Golden State. Should have never gone to Golden State. And the reason why I say this is because now that we are seeing the success that Steph Curry is having, and we see that Kevin Durant basically got swept, who he went to a team where he wanted to play with Kyrie Irving. He wanted to play with him. And then he also had, James Harden, which was obviously the new big three, which once again, I'm really thankful and happy and thrilled that we no longer have this big three garbage that will compromise the product, that will compromise competition. I'm glad that stuff is over. But at the end of the day, though, they had their big three. The big three didn't work for them, right? But they still had, Kyrie Irving, one of the two most talented, skillful players, a lot of people would argue, in the whole entire league, but based on just skill alone. The shooting ability, the outside shooting, the free throw shooting, um, Kyrie Irving's, dribble handling, all that good stuff, right? And yet they were swept in the first round, while Steph Curry is one game away to reach the NBA Finals. Now, this solidifies all the things I have said about Steph Curry and Kevin Durant since 2000 and when did Kevin Durant come in? 2017? I think it was
Mm-hmm.
2017. I think Kevin Durant came to go and see 2017, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2017. Now that Kevin Durant got swept, this continues to show that if he never went to Golden State, if he had never gone to Golden State, he would have had zero championships. Zero. He wouldn't have any championships whatsoever. Why? Because I honestly believe that if he had stayed in OKC,
Mm-hmm.
I think Golden State Warriors would have continued beating OKC. That's what I think. Unless
I don't think so.
I honestly believe that Golden State would have continued beating OKC
I don't think so
okay, why don't you think so?
because I think that Russ and KD, if they had stayed together a little bit longer, I think they would have gone over the hump.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, I think they would have gone over the hump, and because a lot of people think that because they won 73 games that year and didn't win the championship, that they thought that Golden State were just going to continue to be great. You don't know that for a fact.
You do know that for a fact because look where they are now.
Okay, no. What they've done has been a great accomplishment. I'm not trying to deny that,
It looks like you are.
but no. All I'm saying is that the reason why you think that a Golden State team without Kevin Durant those 2 years they were still the best team.
Yes,
I don't think so.
absolutely, I do.
I don't think so.
I think they would have
Because, because,
still been
because
able to dominate the league if Kevin Durant has never gone there. I honestly believe they still would have won at least one championship.
okay, you at least one, not two, which they ended up doing with Kevin Durant. It could have happened. You never know. I think that if he had stayed with Russ, I think they could have won a championship there,
No, I don't think so.
or,
'Cause
or at least could have knocked him out.
look what happened. You have to remember the year that they lost the championship with Kevin Durant. Before they even went to the championship, they beat Houston. They beat Portland when Damian Lillard was just freaking dominating, was just being a sharpshooter. They
Yeah,
beat
but
both. They
they
beat
won.
both of those guys
They,
without Kevin Durant.
yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine because he was hurt.
Okay, yeah, Kevin Durant was hurt, and yet they still won those games anyway without him. That just
Okay,
shows you. That
so
just shows you how powerful and how dominant that team is with
but
Steph.
you what you didn't take into account what OKC would have done with Kevin Durant, with Russell Westbrook. You don't take that into account.
No, but
You,
why should I? Because he was in Golden State and he was hurt.
okay, that's fine, but but remember that year where the year that they played OKC, that was the year that they won 72. They won 73 games, but almost lost to OKC in the semifinals, or was that the year prior?
Yeah, that was the year after. That was the year after they won the championship, 2016.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they like Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook almost beat them. They were up on them 3-1,
Hmm.
and I do think that if both men stayed healthy, and they put pieces around them, I'm not saying that Golden State would have lost to them. All I'm saying is that I think that they had a chance to outseat them. I think they do.
Based on how Golden State dominated that league, they would have continued to go on along with that route anyway. They would have continued dominating the league anyway because you have to remember the league. I don't think the league had adjusted to Steph Curry until 2000 and
I
I
mean,
think
you don't
everybody's
adjust to great players.
every
You don't adjust to great players.
every huh?
You don't adjust to great players. Great
What are you
players
talking,
are great.
what
Great
are you
players
talking
are
about?
great. Great players are great. You don't adjust to great
The
players.
whole entire league tried to adjust to Shaq. The whole entire league tried to adjust to MJ. The whole entire league tried to adjust to Steph. And the whole entire league is now, adjusting to Giannis. They're constantly creating all these walls where you have three guys, you know, three guys, side by side, trying to prevent, Giannis, from taking the hole to the basket, which he's still able to score anyway. Like you have people doing it with Giannis now. So regardless of what the league tries to do, Giannis was still able to dominate. Shaq was still able to dominate, and Steph Curry is still able to dominate even now. And I said this on Twitter: the fact that everybody else is now trying to duplicate what Steph is trying to do, and yet he is still able to dominate the league anyway, just shows how special he is. They're trying to adjust to his game.
No,
Everyone
no,
is trying.
no, no,
Everyone is trying to score three now.
no one is denying
And yet
what
he still dominates the league.
there's no one denying how great Steph Curry is.
You are.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. All I'm saying is that I don't believe that it. Okay, let's say if Kevin Durant never goes there, right, and if he stays in whoever Kevin Durant plays for, as long as he has competent people around him, that team is an automatic title contender. They are. And the thing with Shaq, and you haven't even gone deep into it. The thing with Shaq that I find a bit odd is that the first year that he went to Brooklyn, he didn't even play. He was still hurt from the Achilles. He was still hurt. And ironically enough, the series that Kevin Durant was hurt, they didn't win. They didn't win. even with the greatness of Steph Curry, they still didn't win. Toronto beat them. So it's like, okay, so
Yeah,
he's
I,
hurt.
I think I honestly think Golden State would have beaten them if Clay didn't get hurt.
No, they were already down 3-2 when Clay got hurt. Clay got hurt Clay got hurt game 6.
Wait, hold on. I don't think so.
It was either game 5 or game. No, he got hurt either game 5 or game 6.
I think because he didn't get hurt the when they finally got eliminated. He got hurt the game before that, which was game 5.
He got hurt. I think he got hurt at home.
Yeah,
Was it?
I think it,
Damn,
yeah, I think it was at home. But
And that was game 6.
that when Klay Thompson, I think they would have able to win that series if Klay Thompson didn't get hurt.
I gotta look this up. Hold on a second.
I honestly think so. But here's the thing: why are you looking this up? I think the reason why Shaq is saying all of this is because he finally realized that not only Steph is the far superior player, but that he was actually because Steph Curry was actually better off, without KD in the first place.
That's stupid. Don't
No,
be stupid.
he
Don't be
was
stupid.
better. He would have been better off
Don't be stupid.
without Kevin Durant. Why? Because when Kevin Durant went to Golden State, it pretty much obscured Steph Curry's ability to be, the best player in the league. Because as soon as Kevin Durant went to that team, he was automatically the best player in that team. Despite the fact that you had guys saying that Steph Curry was the best player in the whole entire league.
Here's the thing. Klay Thompson got hurt game 6.
Oh, game 6.
Yeah, and they were already down 3-2 in that series. And I remember he got hurt early in that game.
Yeah.
So
who was winning?
I don't remember who was winning, but Toronto was already up 3-2. Okay. And mind you, Kevin Durant got hurt earlier in that. I think he got hurt game 3 in that series.
I think he got hurt. No, I thought he got hurt earlier than that.
I know he was hurt throughout that playoffs. I know that he was hurt throughout that playoffs.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, let me see if I can find it here.
Yeah, let me see. Let me look at it. Let me get out of here first, real quick, so I could watch. Because I really want to see this. I really want to see it. Because this still, goes in line of what we're talking about. So let's see if you are actually correct. Because for me, that series where Kevin Durant got hurt, and when he tore his Achilles again, I still think that that series could have still gone either way. I think that series still could have gone either way. Are you sure it said that Klay Thompson was hurt in game 6?
Yeah, I read it.
I wish you were. I wish you could. I wish you put that on display so I could see it.
Hold on. Yeah, this is a rundown of every game that was there from 1 to 6. So Toronto won the first 2 games. Golden State won the next 2, and then game 5 had to have been the game that Kevin Durant got hurt, because he got hurt in Toronto. I know that for a fact. He got hurt in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Let me see if I'm correct. Okay. All right, so this is a summary right now. I'm gonna read right here. Curry scored 31 points and Thompson had 26 to help the Warriors stave off elimination. Wait, what? Hold on a second. Wait, what? Golden State won game 5? Hold on a second. I must have read this wrong. Okay, yeah, I did read it. I read this wrong. My fault. Toronto won game 1. Golden State won game 2. Then Toronto won games 3 and 4,
Mm-hmm.
and then Golden State won game 5. All right. So let me go back to the summary.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So they combined for 3 straight 3-pointers after the Raptors led by 6 with 3 minutes to go. All right. So Durant returned after missing the previous 9 games with the right calf injury and scored 11 points in the first quarter. However, he was lost for the game 2 minutes into the second quarter when he tried to drive by Ibaka and suffered a ruptured Achilles tendon. So he got hurt game 5. So game 5 was when he got hurt.
Yeah.
And when he got hurt, they're already down. They're already down 3-2. Right? They were down 3-2. But Klay Thompson got hurt game 6. Well, no game. Yeah. Okay. So the series was tied 2-2 when Durant got hurt. Yeah. So they were tied 2-2 when he got hurt. And I can make an argument that they were closer to winning with Durant there than Klay Thompson there. Because game 6, Thompson got hurt in game 6. And they're already down 3-2. Oh, actually, hold on a second. Yeah, okay. You know what? Okay. Thompson, he had 30 points, but he got hurt in the third quarter.
Yeah.
He got hurt in the third quarter. He was having a great game before that. So, to me, like again, like so going back to Shaq's point, I mean to say that okay, I maintain that if you have Kevin Durant on your team, you're a title contender as long as you have pieces around him, right? I don't know if they would have beaten. I don't know if they would have beaten Golden State because we don't know. Well, all I know is that when Kevin Durant was in Golden State, they were unquestioned best team in the league. Unquestioned best team in the league, and that's because of him. You add that level of greatness to Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. That's an unstoppable quartet of players.
The thing that you forgot
Hmm.
that when Steph Curry got hurt earlier in the season, the team wasn't doing that well. But when Kevin Durant got hurt, you saw how far the Golden State Warriors were able to go without Kevin Durant. If Steph Curry gets hurt, they don't win anything. If KD gets hurt, they're here's what I'm trying to say. They are better off with Steph Curry than if they were with Kevin Durant.
That I don't buy that. I don't buy that.
They are better off with Steph Curry than with Kevin Durant. If Steph Curry gets hurt, that team doesn't go anywhere.
'Cause,
If
I mean,
Kevin Durant gets hurt, we already saw proof that they could go as far as going to the finals without Kevin Durant.
and not win, and not win.
No, I mean, Klay Thompson got hurt, so
Yeah, he did get hurt, but they didn't win. They didn't win. They didn't win without KD.
yeah, because Klay Thompson got hurt.
Okay, but that's not the reason why they lost.
I think so.
He lost. They lost in the deciding. He got injured in the deciding game. The series was tied 2-2 when Kevin Durant got hurt.
Yeah, but when Klay Thompson got hurt, that game was a very close game when Klay Thompson got hurt. It was a very close game.
I mean,
Matter of fact,
I'm sure it was, but I'm sure maybe it was. Maybe it was. Let me see if they have any.
yeah, it absolutely was. It was a very close game, between the two teams. But I honestly think that Steph Curry would have. I think the Golden State Warriors would be better off with Steph than Kevin Durant. I don't think they go anywhere without Steph Curry. They could go very far without Kevin Durant, but not the other way around.
Well, ultimately they didn't win. They didn't win without Durant. So
They already won. They already proved they could win without Durant.
but they didn't win. Okay, they won one championship without Durant.
Thank you.
And
And
how many
and,
how many
and
how many championships would they won? The question is how many championships would they have won without Durant the next 2 years? because I don't think it's as easy as you make it out to be.
They made it look easy.
Yeah, because they had Kevin Durant.
No, they made it look easy even before then.
They won one championship. Okay, the first year they won the championship with LeBron James and a bunch of nobodies.
Mm-hmm.
That's the championship they won.
Mm-hmm.
The second year, they won 73 games and failed in the finals against LeBron James when he had help.
Yeah, when the league gave them a platter by suspending Draymond Green. Yeah,
Again,
yeah.
that's
You talking about that game? Yeah.
yeah. I'm talking about the game in the game 7 where no one showed up except for Draymond Green. So yeah,
As I said before, it was a momentum shift. That's what happened.
right. You can lie to yourself about that all you want. The facts are is what would they have been without Kevin Durant the 2 years the year that he was there? That's the question.
How many rings did Kevin Durant have without Steph Curry?
None.
And how many did Steph Curry have without Kevin Durant?
One.
And he possibly going to have two.
That's true. Look, I can't. That's true. I can't deny that part.
Okay, so I mean, I don't understand what's the problem here. It's obvious that you disagree with Shaq. It's clearly that you
No,
disagree. With Shaq.
I don't understand why I don't understand why he's going at him like that. That's why that's why I'm waiting for you to try to explain because you didn't even get to that part.
All right. Oh man, this is all this other stuff. So here's what. Wait, where is it? I lost it. Okay, here we are. Okay. Okay, here we are.
Yeah, you gotta reshare it.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So I think let me see how far did I go. I believe where did I stop? I guess it's here. I think Shaq has always been vocal about his opinions. He is a part of the NBA TNT crew that regularly makes some of the best analysts in basketball. His love for Steph Curry has been vocalized quite often, and what's more, he has a distaste for KD. His story on Insta was cryptic, well, because he never said anything. But the post itself says a lot, and it details that Kevin Durant has a notable wins or achievements since leaving Steph. The Golden State Warriors point guard, on the other hand, is in the Western Conference Finals after grooming rookies and young players. Perhaps there is some grain of truth to Shaq's claims. If Steph Curry does prevail this postseason, it will all but confirm his greatness over Kevin Durant. That's what I've also been trying to tell you from the get go.
So Shaq is saying this because he doesn't like KD.
He never said he doesn't like KD.
I mean, that's what the post is saying.
Well, over here it says that Kevin Durant didn't even get suited up at first season with the Nets at all, as he was still recovering from the torn Achilles injury he suffered in Game 5 in 2019 NBA Finals. Durant wasn't even supposed to play in that game. Is this it? Yeah, this is it. Already dealing with the calf strain, and which sidelined him the entire conference and the first 4 games in the finals, on top of the 2 games of the conference finals. Pressure coming from the media and some within the Warriors organization likely got Durant on top of the desire to win his 3rd consecutive ring, but hindsight, Durant would have likely elected to sit out in that game. Having said that, Warriors fans and Shaq need to be fair to Durant on that front. Now that's the part that you said. That's the part that you said where he actually got hurt and things like that. But here, let me see if this is it. I want to get to the point. Let me see. Oh man, this is just too much. I don't think I can find it. But pretty much what Sack is saying is that you could clearly see the difference between what KD did in Golden State by going to a super team, and what he's basically doing now after he left.
I
So
mean,
pretty
they have a super team over there.
so yeah, okay. See, that's the problem that we've been trying to tell you, from the beginning. He went to a super team, and now they became a what? A super duper team, where nobody else could
You
compete.
you consider Golden State a super team um before Kevin Durant got there?
A lot of people said that they were. A lot of teams, said that they were, especially once they beat especially when they beat the Bulls record. Like they were saying, like, yeah, this is pretty much a super team. Now, to me, a super team is what Boston did. Obviously, what happened, in Miami. Obviously, what Brooklyn tried to do. To me, I consider that a super team. I don't really necessarily think what Golden State had was a super team, but they still dominated the league, though.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you add Kevin Durant into that team, that just goes to show that there was just no way nobody in the entire league was able to compete against that team. So that just shows me that in order for Kevin Durant to win rings, he has to go to super teams.
I
That's
mean,
pretty that's pretty much my point. He has to go to super teams, which solidifies that Steph Curry is by far the superior player. And I'm going to set this straight. If Steph Curry wins another title, because remember he's been dominating the league since 2015. If Steph Curry wins another championship, I think he's top 10 of all time. If he-
I I,
I'm saying
I, I can definitely see a case for it.
if he wins another, that'll be his fourth championship, two of them without Kevin Durant, and for him to dominate the league again with his constant, like I said before, he is he and with the exception of a couple other guys like Trey Young and I guess Damian Leonard, he basically makes it a standard, or I shouldn't say standard, but for him to be allowed to shoot from the logo is insane to me. Is insane to me. Everybody that would have done something like that in the past, prior to Steph Curry, would be on the bench forever. uh, for Steph Curry to be able to do that, and the shot goes now. This is not in a case where shot clock is going down, or you throwing a miracle shot in the before the first half is over. It's nothing like that. He will do that in mid game, and then the shot goes in. That just goes to show how special this dude is, how spectacular that he is. And if he is able to win a ring this year and has his fourth title, I'm going to basically say, hey, I don't know who I would have to choose yet, but I'm going to put him in top 10. And guess what? By him being in top 10, that also means he is still by far better than Kevin Durant.
Okay. I mean, that's what you. I know that's you're craving to say that, but here's what this is. The difference is that I see. The difference is not really between the players because you can argue over which one's better, but there's no denying that Curry and Durant are two of the best players that we've seen in this league in a long time, right? You can add other players like as far as consistency. Obviously, you have LeBron James up there. Um, I probably feel those guys and Giannis has put up enough of a enough of a resume to showcase how great those guys have been over the past 20 years, right? I would
Mhm.
put those guys in that legendary category. The difference between what has happened since Kevin Durant left is more on it says more to the organization than it does to the player. And let me explain. Here you have Golden State, right?
Mhm.
Even when they were losing, what did they do? They decided to develop young talent, right? They didn't try to try to get a big free agent like out of the blue just so they can sell tickets like the Lakers do. Because that's what they did with Russell Westbrook. They sold off their future to get a point guard who is currently over the hill, or at least approaching that hill, right? You have an organization when Andrew Wiggins was waffling over getting the vaccine. He had players in his ear telling him, "Yo, this is if you want to sacrifice for the betterment of the team, get vaccinated." And that's exactly what he did. And what did he get for that? First time ever All Star, right? Finally living up to the potential that he had when he got drafted number 1 overall and then got traded. He's finally living up. He's finally living up to the potential, right? You have
Mhm.
an organization that is not littered with drama, right? You have a model organization who pride themselves on culture, right? Now you look at the Brooklyn Nets on the other hand. You have a team, you have a franchise who's the second fiddle to the New York Knicks, who's a joke. The Nets are second fiddle to a joke. You have an organization that has no real culture, right? From the moment they moved from New Jersey to Brooklyn, what do they do? The first thing they do, they traded for 2 over the hill Boston Celtic players and traded and mortgaged their future. And traded all their future to the Boston Celtics just so they can get an over the hill Paul Pierce and an even more over the hill Kevin Garnett. And what did that get them? And then they also had Darren Williams and Brooke Lopez, right? And what did
Mhm.
I get them? Get gentlemen sweep by Miami, and then do jack shit after that. A franchise who was marred in mediocrity and would have still been marred in mediocrity if Kevin Durant didn't choose to go there and bring Kyrie with him, who flamed out in Boston. And then they have Kyrie Irving, who also didn't want to take the vaccine, but since he had the power over there, he decided, you know what, I'm good. I'll wait. I'll wait till you guys, change your mind because you have no guts. You have no conviction in your decision making. So he comes back, and then they do well in some games. They're inconsistent. And what happened? They get swept in the first round by Boston. There's a big difference between the organizations, and that's why Steph Curry is on the verge of going to the NBA Finals, and while Kevin Durant is stuck in a garbage organization where they have players who either you know didn't take their rehab seriously in Harden and traded him for a guy who may not even want to play basketball anymore in Ben Simmons. They're a garbage organization. That's your difference. One guy is in a great organization, a great player in a great organization, and another player is in a garbage organization. And I'm not saying this as a way to make excuses for Curry. No, what Durant's in the situation that Durant's in right now, that's on him. That's on him because he went to that garbage organization. He went to that second fiddle to the New York Knicks, who are garbage. One of the most overrated franchise in the history of basketball. They play second fiddle to them. He went to that garbage organization. He teamed himself up with an unreliable douchebag point guard, and that not and he's in the situation that he's in. That's on him. But ultimately, my main point is the reason why the Golden State Warriors are on the verge of going to the NBA Finals is because they're a great organization, and the reason why the New Jersey Nets got swept is because they're a garbage organization. And when you're a garbage organization pretending to be a great team, you stuff like that happens to teams like that.
And just like how people have blamed LeBron James for orchestrating, that team, you could say the exact same thing for Kevin Durant.
Absolutely. But
You could say the
absolutely.
exact same thing. He had the power. He was the one who made that choice.
Okay, but here's the difference.
This wasn't something to where there was conflict between him and the organization. There was no dilemma going on. He knew exactly what he wanted. He wanted Kyrie Irving to go in that team.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The main difference is between him and LeBron. LeBron James already won a championship in LA, so he has carte blanche to if he wants to bring in another player, like he brought in Anthony Davis. Let's be real, he brought in Anthony Davis, right? So he already proven himself that he can win in LA. Kevin Durant didn't do that in Brooklyn, and this is the year that they do that in Brooklyn. This is the year, or next year the year technically.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that's pretty much all I gotta say about that. Like I said, like as far as Shaq goes, like he can be petty at times, but it is what it is. I don't really have much of an opinion on that.
Well, you could say that you could call him pity all you want, but if he wants to call someone out based on their accomplishments, based on their performance, he has the G14 classification to say what he wants because he been there, done that. He won enough championships. He dominated the league, his way, and as a reward, he won 4 championships. He won 3 Finals MVPs. He won the scoring title, and he won regular season MVP. So that dude is obviously well accomplished. Very well, very well accomplished.
But it's funny, you didn't have the same energy when he criticized Kyrie.
Yeah, I didn't have the same energy as Kyrie because you know how I feel about the vaccine stuff with the whole
That's
vaccine,
fine, but like you said,
vaccine fiasco.
that's fine. But you said that he had the G14 classification to make these demands of these players, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
All right. Well, you didn't keep the same energy there. So
Yeah, I told you the situation with that. The vaccine has absolutely nothing to do with the performance of how you play or anything like that.
it just
Has
shows it just
has
shows
nothing to do
it
with
just
that.
shows the level of dedication that you have for your teammates. And you can say what you want to say about Shaq. I'm not gonna sit there and pretend he was always the greatest teammate, but he always had his teammates back when push comes to shove. Always put those guys over. So
All one last thing.
mm-hmm.
I really hope that you finally are finally going to open your eyes and realize that not only is Steph Curry is the better player, not only that Steph Curry is now going to be more accomplished than Kevin Durant, but I think now it's time for you to realize that if you had to pick a team, that you would that because for me, I'm picking Steph Curry over Kevin Durant without even a thought, with no hesitation. I'm picking Steph Curry. If I want to create a team, I'm going to pick Steph Curry first because obviously he is showing. This is proof that he is showing that his hard work and his dominance is far better than what Kevin Durant has done without Golden State. Without Golden State. And look, you could say that Kevin Durant is still the better player, all that you want, or that he's taller and all this other stuff. You could say that all that stuff that you want, but the proof is in the pudding, my friend. Steph Curry already won without Kevin Durant anyway, and he is going to continue to win because it seems like if as long as he's able to dominate the league once again, I don't see how anybody, whether it's Boston or Miami, could stop this guy. And if he's able to do that, like I said before, he's going to be in my top 10 overall.
Okay. All right. Well, let me. If you want to move on to the next topic.
Yep.
All right. I'm still picking Kevin Durant anyway. All right. So
Yeah, even though Steph Curry has more rings. Well, go ahead.
he absolutely has more rings. Like that's fine. I don't like Bill
I mean,
Russell has
I mean,
Bill Russell has more rings than Jordan.
uh,
Who you
uh,
think I'm picking? Who you think I'm picking first?
yeah, of course you're going to pick Jordan first.
First,
But yeah, that's an awful comparison.
not an awful
The,
comparison.
the, the discrepancy between that was that there was barely any competition in Bill Russell's day. You know that.
And
So
that's fine.
don't even try it.
That's fine. It's whatever. Like
No, no, no. It's not good. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's a 100%
it's
fact.
whatever. I'm picking Jordan.
Okay, that's fine. But
And
that's a
then
fact.
if I had to pick between, let me give you a better example: LeBron and Jordan. I'm picking LeBron. I'm picking
Yeah.
LeBron,
And
even though Jordan has more rings.
guess what? The people that picked Michael Jordan would be well more accomplished than if they had picked LeBron James.
All right, we'll see about that.
No, no, no. It's already happening. What you mean?
We'll see about that.
Jordan has won more rings in a short time span than LeBron James has.
Okay, and so did Bill Russell. He won more rings than Jordan. What does that matter?
With less competition.
Okay, it don't matter. He has more.
With less competition.
And
All
he has
right.
more.
That's why. That's why.
All right. All right. So you have there are a pair of Xbox news that happened over the week. Actually, my topic actually just happened today. Yours was something that happened a couple days ago. And I mean you could get to it right now if you want.
Which one?
Uh the one that you wanted to talk about. The Marvel.
Oh, not. Oh, I thought we were going to do yours first.
No,
Okay.
do yours first.
Let's see here. So now, pretty much what he's saying is we are going to go to gaming real quick. We're gonna go back to sports again, but we're gonna go to gaming real quick, and pretty much. Let me see here. Okay, here we go. This is something that is very very alarming to me. Very alarming to me when regarding to the gaming industry, but particularly to Microsoft. So as you can see how it says here, Xbox declined offer to make Marvel games according to Marvel executive. So this is Marvel saying this, that Xbox actually declined to make Marvel games. And I was actually going to make a video. Remember the video that me and Heaven are going to basically prepare next week regarding DC. This is very very surprising and very alarming in my opinion. And the reason why I say this is very alarming is because we already have been. Before I read the article, let's just go back in history just real quick. We've already seen the success of the adaptation of comic book characters going to gaming. For example, like the Spider-Man video game with with Miles Morales. I know it's exclusive to to PlayStation, but that right there, that game alone, which is a Marvel character, is proof enough that it has a huge fan base and that it could work. Like it shows that it could 100% work when you have all these games that has a huge fan base going to a particular console, whether if it's Xbox, the Switch, or PlayStation, it works. And you have characters that Marvel could utilize, and you decide to not even make not one Marvel video game. Let's see what's going on here, because like this type of stuff, pisses me off. And let me tell you why this stuff like this pisses me off. It's because it goes to show. This is what I've been trying to say since last generation. It goes to show that these companies don't care, don't give a crap of what we want or what we desire. They don't care. They don't. This is right here is proof. Nintendo has been guilty of that, and now Xbox is currently guilty of that right now. They don't care of giving us what we want. They want to do things that they want to do. They only want to think, they think that, oh, what they think is best without listening to the fan base. So already this stuff is already pissing me off, but let's see what's going on here. Executive Vice President, do you have anything to say before I read?
No, you can get reading.
Executive Vice President, head of Marvel Games, Jay, whatever, has revealed in a book that both Xbox and PlayStation were approached about making Marvel video games, but only one of the console makers accepted the offer. We obviously know who that is. A look around the gaming landscape reveals exactly which one too. PlayStation, the company with the exclusive Spider-Man franchise and an upcoming Wolverine game. Now, I don't know if you remember having there was a Wolverine game before. Back in the day, it was the Wolverine's Revenge game,
Mm-hmm.
and there was another Wolverine game based on the Wolverine movie. I can't remember exactly which one, but from what I've heard, and I played the game too. The game was actually good.
Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, it was based on the Wolverine movie. And we had all these other games before. Like, I don't know if you remember this, Hoovy, but I remember when it was me, it was you, it was Joe, it was Randy. We went to your house, and I think we were playing. I can't remember if it was X-Men Legends or if it was Fantastic Four, or it was one of those um Marvel games where we were able to play co-op, or 4 players and one screen. Do you remember that?
You said it was a X Men game.
I
Oh,
think
you no, you talking about X Men Legends, ain't it?
yes, yes.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, we played X-Men Legends. um there was Marvel. There was a Marvel game that was similar to that. And obviously, even though it's been ass, Marvel versus Capcom. But like, we there were so many Marvel games that we were able to play, and a lot of those games were amazing games. Amazing games. I would definitely would wish if we had either a cable game or a Bishop game that's maybe, or perhaps, first person, or things like that. It would be phenomenal. You have all these characters that you could take advantage of, and it's just unfortunate that Microsoft says no. Do you have the game?
Should be on your screen.
Oh, I didn't. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, yeah, X-Men Legend: Rise of Apocalypse. Yeah.
Okay, let me scroll down.
Give me one
And
second. Yeah, give me one
X Men.
second. I'm gonna turn the AC on. Give me one second. It's hot in
Mm-hmm.
here.
Yeah. All right. So X Men Origins Wolverine. I think this is the game that he was talking about. You know. Yeah, I think this is the game he was talking about. I never played this game. All right. You sound like you're sitting down right now. You there, Steve?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay. Is this the game you're talking about? X Men Origins.
Yes, that's the one.
Okay. I never played that game.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I played that game before.
Mhm.
Very good game. Very, 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 very good game. Very nice, hack and slash. And yeah, you could say that, I'm probably being a little biased, but
Mhm.
yeah, whatever. But let me see, where was I? So Marvel video game, but only one console makes accepted the offer. A look around the gaming landscape reveals exactly which one.
Yeah, you
PlayStation.
you read you read that stuff too.
Oh yeah, upcoming Wolverine game. And over on the Xbox side, you won't find any new Marvel game developed by an Xbox studio, because according to um I don't know how you say
Yeah,
this.
I think it's
On
Ang.
Ang?
Yeah.
Wow, Ang. Okay. The company declined Marvel's offer, opting instead to focus on its own IP, as reported by Video Game Chronicles. Like, okay, you mean to tell me that you want to focus on your own IPs? Like, what IPs do you have to offer us? Like,
Okay.
go
Do
ahead.
me a favor. Scroll down a little bit.
Oh, you want to watch the video?
No, 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 no. I don't
Oh,
know.
oh, right. Oh, I thought you wanted to watch it. Oh,
No,
okay.
no. Scroll down. Scroll down. Scroll down.
Hmm.
Okay. Let me read this part.
Yeah.
The, okay. The book Stephen Kent's The Ultimate History of Video Games Volume 2 houses an excerpt where Ang explained this deal and how it led to Marvel's prematurely terminating a contract it had with Activision to make Spider-Man games. Ang said in the book that Marvel was unhappy with Activision Spider-Man titles, and the two companies came to an agreement to end the licensing deal early. Ang said that Activision then asked him, "Where are you going to do the IP after you get it back?" Ang said, "I'm going to find a better home for it." To which Activision replied, "Good luck finding your unicorn." So Activision didn't think they could. Activision didn't think they can find a company that can do it, right?
To make the Spider-Man
So,
game.
yeah, make a good Spider-Man game. Yeah,
Yeah.
as we know now, that unicorn wasn't going to be Microsoft, wasn't going to be Xbox because it turned down the offer after Marvel Games reached out asking, "We don't have any big console deals with anyone right now. What what would you like to do?" PlayStation, however, bid. As we know, that unicorn wasn't going to be Xbox because it turned down the offer after Marvel Games reached out asking, "We don't have any big console deals with anyone right now. What would you like to do?" Okay, all right. I thought I missed something. Scroll
Hmm.
down. All right.
Hmm.
I sat down with two executives from PlayStation in August 2014. Now, that's important to note that date, August 2014.
Okay.
Now, around that time, both the PS3 and PS4 and Xbox One was out for, like, they were both out, right? They were both out for a couple months, right? Remember, the PS5, PS4 was doing very well. Xbox One was struggling bad.
Yeah, because they were trying to force that connect garbage,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah.
And they had a bunch of games that they were making at the time, right? They already had a deal with EA for Titanfall, and around the time they were developing, I know Rare was developing a game. Um, Obviously they obviously had a team in mind for Crackdown. Plus they had Halo, Gears, Forza, and all the other stuff, right?
Hmm.
So what I think happened was Microsoft was more focused on their um on their main properties, right? I guess they didn't want to add anything else to their plate. Now the funny thing is that Sunset Overdrive, I don't know if it came out around that time, but I know that Insomniac was making a game for Microsoft,
Yes.
which was odd because that was the company that ended up making the Spider-Man game for PlayStation,
You're right.
and Microsoft had them. And if they had decided, and now mind you, the reason why they decided to go to Microsoft to make Sunset Overdrive was because Sony wanted to own the IP. And Insomniac was like, "No, we don't. We want to make our own game. We want to produce it. We want to make it and release it. We want it to be our own property."
Right.
So, and Microsoft was the one that allowed them to do that. And if Microsoft had decided, you know what, if Microsoft had decided to at least try out the Spider-Man game or whatever it is that they did, they could have given it to Insomniac. But instead, after Sunset Overdrive, they went back to PlayStation to make. I think the first thing they made was Ratchet and Clank, and then they made the Spider-Man game, which blew up.
Yes.
So yeah, so I mean, let me see. Let me read some more here.
Yeah.
In a conference room in Burbank, Ang said in the book, "I said we have a dream, that this is possible, that we could beat the Batman Arkham franchise, because that game was popular around that time.
Oh man, that game was just phenomenal too.
Yeah, and have
Yeah.
one game at least, and maybe multiple games that could drive adoption to your platform." Which that game ended up being Spider-Man, and that game, to my knowledge, has completely outsold Batman the Arkham franchise.
Yes. Yes, it did.
Yeah.
By a lot, or was it close?
I think it's by a good amount, but I'm not 100% sure. So I
Okay,
don't quote me on that.
okay. This okay. I mean, we might as well read this last bit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this one looks good. Do you want me
Okay,
to read it or you want to go?
you read it.
So PlayStation reportedly responded by asking to make a console exclusive Spider-Man. This is again one of the smartest things, and one of the reasons why how I just love competition. Like look what Sony basically they responded, and they basically said, yeah, make Spider-Man and it's going to be exclusive. Look how easy that became. Now, of course, I don't know everything when it comes to the business side of it, and the developers and all the contracts and all the other stuff behind it. But at the end of the day, though, you have a product, you have a character who is basically familiarized worldwide. Everybody know who Spider-Man is. And a lot of people, would argue that Spider-Man is really the most important, or the biggest, character, most popular character in Marvel of all time. Now,
When it comes to cinema, that's undoubtedly true. Cause remember, superhero movies back then didn't do great until the original Spider-Man came out,
yes,
and that helped spawn all this,
yeah,
all
exactly.
the Marvel universe, all that stuff, everything, even the DC stuff, all that stuff leads from that movie.
Yeah, and I understand. People will say, "Oh, well, Blade started it first," which I understand. Blade is a Marvel movie, but I think the
Yeah,
trend started.
it didn't have the same cachet as Spider-Man. It
No,
doesn't.
Blade was a phenomenal movie. I think
Yeah, sure,
part one and two was phenomenal movies. Phenomenal
yeah,
movies.
but it didn't have the same impact as Spider-Man.
Oh, as
Not,
far as impact, yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah,
not
I agree. Yeah, and I think yeah, and like you said, Spider Man was the one that started the trend where now you had other Marvel movies and more DC movies. Once they saw the success that Spider Man has,
Mhm.
they're starting to utilize more of their characters.
Yeah.
But again, how is it? Before I continue reading, it's so surprising because how in the world that Microsoft couldn't have the foresight to see that this is a huge, huge seller. Because again, everybody know who Spider Man is, and
Yeah,
look, go ahead.
no, I mean they were under different leadership at the time. I just think that they just didn't see the value of they didn't see the value of the franchises.
Okay,
Because
but
up, 'cause up- yeah, because up to that point, you can name us a superhero game that came out around that time that was any good outside of Batman. I can't think of anything. I'm talking about like around that time. Now, obviously, we had games in the past, yes, but around that time, they really wasn't. They really didn't have anything. They really wasn't. So
with
I
the
like. Yeah, go ahead.
exception of
The Batman
the
game.
Batman one,
Yeah,
well, we talked about the Wolverine one that you showed earlier.
yeah, but that was a one off game, and I don't know if people bought it because if people bought it, we would have seen a sequel.
Well, they are coming up with a Wolverine game now.
Yeah, yeah, but that has nothing to do with that old game.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And Insomniac is making that one. Is make not only are they making the Spider-Man 2, but they're also making the Wolverine movie, the Wolverine game.
yeah,
And like I said, we don't know how deep the relationship is with Sony and Marvel, but would it surprise me if we see maybe another Marvel character get his own game, maybe like the Punisher get his own game?
yeah,
You can see that. We can see what other superhero would make sense from Marvel. I mean they had the Iron Man VR game on PlayStation.
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
Iron Man. Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, and you know what's so funny about that? This is not the only game that Microsoft has denied too. You know that they had a chance to own Grand Theft Auto.
You got to be kidding me.
They had the opportunity, but they declined.
Wow.
They declined.
Okay. All right. So let me read this last bit. PlayStation reportedly responded to asking to make a console exclusive Spider-Man game, and that turned out to be Marvel's Spider-Man released in 2018.
Phenomenal
Spider,
game.
hmm?
Phenomenal game.
Yes, yes. Spider-Man reviewed quite well, and a VGC notes sold more than 20 million copies. That must really hurt Microsoft right there. Because was okay. Quick question: was this also available on PC? The first one,
No.
it was only available on
It's only PS4.
PS4.
You can they also have it on PS5 now, but at the time it was only available on PS4.
Okay. It also spawned Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, and a sequel to both in the form of Spider-Man 2 is now in development.
Mm-hmm.
Like, see, this is what Microsoft is going to be missing now. This is what Microsoft is going to be missing because of their stupidity and their dumb decision makings. Plus, Insomniac Spider-Man's success likely led to getting them to develop its. Oh yeah, see, this is the one. It's Wolverine game as well.
Yep.
So the company that went to you, well, no, actually, the company that you said where Microsoft had because they made Sunset Overdrive for you. And remember, Sunset Overdrive was an exclusive game for Microsoft. And Insomniac is now going to be making Spider-Man and now Wolverine. And both games, is Wolverine going to be exclusive also?
More than likely.
So you mean to tell me that both games are going to be exclusive for the PlayStation brand? For the PlayStation brand. This is the most dumbest decision that Microsoft had to have made. Because once again, you have a very popular character like Spider-Man, who everybody knows. You now have another popular character, and you could also agree that Wolverine is an extremely popular character,
Yeah.
very popular character.
He's the most popular X-Men in my opinion.
Yes. Now, someone argued that that it's that is Gambit. Like Gambit is also very popular.
He's my favorite. He's
He's your
my
favorite?
favorite. Yeah, he's my favorite X-Men. But they don't. How many Gambit games do they have as opposed to Wolverine?
No, I don't think they have any.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't have any. Well, but what I'm excited about, they are going to have a Gambit comic book. I believe it's coming out next month.
Mhm.
They're going to have a standalone Gambit a comic. Super, excited about that.
Mhm.
Definitely going to get that as soon as it comes out. But not to get off track. Once again, this just goes to show that Microsoft, they really don't know what they're doing when it comes to decision making. They really don't, and they basically screwed their fan base, because I guarantee a lot of people who only owns Xbox wants to play the next Spider-Man game or wants to play the next Wolverine game. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Like, do you? Uh, I don't want to curse, but what do you have to say?
Um, I look. Ultimately, I understood their mindset, but this ended up biting them in the ass because instead of having Spider-Man, instead of having Miles Morales, instead of having the upcoming Wolverine game, during that time, they released games like State of Decay, which is garbage, Sea of Thieves, which is garbage, Crackdown 3, which is garbage. And they're really the only and they released some other games too, but at the end of the day, they messed up on that one. They did. Maybe in a couple, maybe like in 2016, if Marvel went up to them, they probably would have jumped at it in a hot second. But at that time, they had a lot of stuff that they were on their mind about. They had a console that was failing, and they had these games that thought that was gonna be great. Ended up not being good, and ultimately they screwed themselves over.
Yeah, they
Screw them
pretty.
too.
Yeah, they pretty much screwed their thumbs over, and remember, Marvel is a big company, and because of this move, I don't see them having any Marvel video game in their console. This just generation. Going forward.
Well, I mean, they had like the ones, at least the ones made by PlayStation. They don't.
Yes.
Like some of the others, like obviously Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Those. Yeah, but
Yeah,
I'm talking about the ones that obviously Insomniac and obviously going to be making. Like they're not going to see any of those games.
no.
Yeah, they're not going to be seeing any of those games. They're lucky that they're going to be having that they have Guardians of Galaxy and all the other stuff. But as far as this, yeah, this is just them being stupid. They're being stupid. And look, if I was an Xbox owner and I didn't have PlayStation, I'd be ticked off.
Hmm.
I'd be ticked off about this. Really ticked off about it.
You're gonna be unsubscribing from Game Pass.
And I actually like the idea of you saying that they should probably have a Punisher video game. I mean, I still definitely would love to have a Cable or Bishop video game.
Mhm.
But yeah, a Punisher video game would obviously be nice. I also would like to add I really would like to see another somewhat like okay, pretty much like how they're doing with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mhm.
I will also like for them to do the same thing with X-Men. Have a X-Men game or like or X Force, something to that nature, like similar how it's being done with Guardians of the Galaxy. Like I would definitely would love a brand new X Men game. I would love a new X Men game, but I know that's probably asking for too much. But that's pretty much my wish list. But yeah, but bad move for Microsoft. So on to your next topic.
Okay, let me try to do this real quick. All right. So a former executive at Microsoft named Ed Fries. Let me see if I can get to. Let me see if I can get to that post. Oh yeah, I'm not even sharing this right now. Hold on a second. Let me pop this in. All right. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, Ed Fries. He's a former executive at Microsoft, and he has something to say
Hmm.
about what Microsoft is doing with Game Pass. And I want to play the audio right now. Let me see if you can hear this.
on profitability and not
Yeah, I can
on
hear it.
Okay, let me start off from the very beginning. Boom.
part of why I left actually was I was getting a lot of pressure to focus on profitability and not on you know continuing to grow our first party team and the quality of the games that we were making. And I just thought it was a huge mistake. And then I think they went through years of kind of cost cutting and then ultimately realized that they were losing the battle in first party, that Sony was consistently making better games than them, and now they're starting the process of turning that around. But it takes years to turn the ship in the game business. They've made some big acquisitions, really big ones now,
Hmm.
and so I think they're headed off in the right direction. But we won't really find out for a while.
Is there any change that you would make to the strategy or an addition that you would go for? Any move that Ed Freeze would make if he was there now?
The one thing that they're doing that makes me nervous is Game Pass.
Oh,
Um,
really? Please elaborate.
Oof.
yeah, and Game Pass scares me because there's a somewhat analogous thing called Spotify that was created for the music business. And when Spotify took off, um, it destroyed the music business. I mean, it literally cut the annual revenue of the music business in half. Um, and it's made it so people just don't buy songs anymore. People don't buy songs on iPhone, for example, because why would you? They're all on your subscription service app. I mean, Apple said they're going to take away buying songs because no one's buying them anymore. We, so we have to be careful we don't create the same system in the game business. I mean, these markets are more fragile than people realize. I guess, I saw the game industry destroy itself in the early 80s. I saw the educational software business destroy itself in the mid 90s. The guy who was on Shark Tank, the kind of nasty guy, he was part of that. They literally destroyed a multi-billion-dollar market over in a matter of a few years. And so Game Pass makes me nervous. As a customer, I love it. I love Spotify as a customer. Gee, I have all the songs I ever want. I can just play around with them. It's great deal as a customer. But that isn't necessarily great for the industry.
What are your thoughts?
Okay. I think what he said was spot on. Spot on. And the reason why I say it was spot on is actually one of the things that I have even said even before. I honestly thought that once Game Pass was implemented, it was going to destroy the gaming industry or compromise it, to a degree to where there was no longer an incentive to buy physical copies anymore. And that also would be a potential chance that, we won't even be able to have options to pick if you want to buy digital or physical. Now, when he used the Spotify example,
Mhm.
dude, I don't remember the last time I even bought, music on my phone or my tablet or anywhere else for that matter,
Yeah.
laptop or anything. Like I haven't bought any music at all. I'm pretty sure that you haven't bought music either.
No, I have an Apple account and I have a SoundCloud account that I pay for, but when it comes to songs, I haven't paid for a song in years.
Yeah, here's the thing. I remember years ago, Michael Pachter had said that people was going to stop buying DVDs, DVD movies.
Mhm.
Now, as of right now, people are still buying movies, DVD movies. But I honestly believe the generation alphas, once they start getting older,
Mhm.
I think they're going to completely disregard or abandon, the physical, multimedia, if you will, as a whole. Because I don't know if I still buy DVD movies currently,
I
but
do.
I think as generation continues to go on, that buying physical DVDs is going to be obsolete, and that's because of all these subscription services that we're having. Like we're already seeing the effects with music and with movies now. There's absolutely no way that Microsoft could not have known that. They could. There's no way that now maybe they wanted to be the one to jump the gun and make all the profits for it and maybe be a monopoly for it, because
Mhm.
Nintendo and Sony is not going to follow suit. It looks like.
As of
So,
right now, it don't look like it. And
yeah,
the thing with I said this before when it came to when the Game Pass and what Microsoft was trying to do with it. Like I said before, and he said it. Studio to studio, they can't compete with Sony. They can't. So what did they do? They used their money. They bought Bethesda, then they bought Activision, and the goal is to make is there if they're gonna spend money and waste money for these quote AAA games to be on Game Pass day one, they're going to do it. Why? Because at the end of the day, they're banking on the value of Game Pass and what it can offer over spending $70 for a AAA experience on the PlayStation. So, for example, why realistically, if you're a consumer, why would you spend $70 on the next Call of Duty game when you can essentially just pay a subscription fee and play it right now on the Xbox. That's
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, go ahead.
there's no incentive to buy physical copies that cost $60 to $70 when you could just
Exactly.
pretty much pay it for free. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what Microsoft is banking on. And what Ed Fries is saying is that, that's not good for it. Because you look at the music industry, like in order to support it back in the day, you had to buy CDs, and you obviously go to concerts and stuff like that. Which from what I heard, that's where most artists make their money is by touring.
Yeah.
Even back in this heyday, when it comes to records and albums and stuff like that, the artists only saw like a small fraction of that. Now that differs from artist to artist, but I've always thought, and I read that the bulk of the money that they make is through touring.
Hmm.
But regardless of that you have the industry permanently change when with the introduction of MP3s and the stuff with Napster and LimeWire and stuff like that. And that matured into what we have now with Apple and Spotify and all the other stuff. And then you look at the movie industry, like theater release, like now when you hear something say, "Oh, coming to theaters," now people are shocked because currently everything seems to be going straight to streaming, right? Like, oh, see this first on Disney Plus or Paramount Plus or whatever.
Or an HBO. Yeah.
Yeah, or HBO Max, right? All these places are using digital media to push content out there, and Microsoft is banking on that same strategy for the Xbox. And in the industry where spending $60-$70 on a game is normal, spending money on DLC and stuff like that is normal. Microsoft is banking on Microsoft is banking on the Netflix model to work on Game Pass, to work for Game Pass. I don't know if it's gonna work. Like I said, I have Game Pass. Like it's I don't have an issue with it, but I know that it can be potentially dangerous for the industry. I know that for a fact. But at the end of the day, I am a consumer first and foremost, and I have to do what's best for me. So
Well,
yeah.
I understand that,
Hmm.
but to a degree, because if anybody would at the very least have the foresight to see what's going on, we know for in the near future that it's going to hurt the consumers as a whole.
If it works. Only if it works, and you have to remember, like we're not people like us, the people who grew up on console gaming, we're dying off. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna have a bunch of kids who grow up and they're grew up playing like Fortnite and all this other stuff. I mean, they're not gonna grow up with the same mentality that we have. You're not going to like the term console, exclusive content on console is the way of the past. At least it's becoming that way. They're
Well,
they're they're going up to an entirely different landscape of gaming than we did.
well, yeah, because now everything is just all about downloading and everything is all about streaming.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the norm. And now that Game Pass is just constantly taking over, all it's pretty much going to do is just hurt everybody else. Like this hurts Sony and this hurts Nintendo. It hurts other companies, but I'm definitely not looking forward you know to be a subscriber to Game Pass. Like I never supported it. I never supported Game Pass because I knew the potential danger that it could have by hurting the gaming industry as a whole. Like we already been seeing it now. Thankfully, I know you and I disagreed when we talked about the movies.
Mhm.
Thankfully, when it comes to watching movies in the movie theater, that still means a lot to a lot of people. Even the Gen Zs and Generation Alphas, people want to be immersed. Now I know you don't care about that,
Mhm.
but people still want to be immersed watching good AAA movies on the big screen. It's also a romantic setting for couples, marriage couples, or whatever, or guys night out, girls night out, and things of that nature. Because a lot of people, in my opinion, would much prefer when you want to do a get together, they would want to go to watch a movie at the movie theater than at someone else's house, because the experience of watching on the big screen, it matters to a lot of people, including me. So I think when it comes to Netflix and HBO and Disney Plus, Hulu and all this other subscription, when it comes to movies, the movie theater industry, I guess you could say, is safe because people will continue to go to movie theaters and buy tickets.
But I do think that is going to get less and less important over the years. I don't know if the movie industry wants that. But that's a trend. Like once you start putting full feature films coming out on streaming only, like that is only a matter of time. Only a matter of time, man.
Well, because even if those movies do come out, day one or a week after it's been released, people will still would rather watch it on the big screen because again, people want to be immersed. They want to watch it on the big screen and have the experience of going over there, having your popcorn, having your snacks, and it's the experience, the atmosphere that it provides to the consumer is more exciting than you opposed to just staying home watching it at home. You know what I'm saying? Like I think even if you try to duplicate the experience in your own household, only rich people have that luxury. When only rich people have that luxury. I don't think the middle class or the poor, the poverty people who are poor, they don't have that luxury to do that, to have the exact same experience as you would in a movie theater. So that's why I think when it comes to movies, I think they're safe. I think they'll be fine. And video games, however, we already been seeing how we had to adjust and how the industry has changed as a whole. Again, we talked about how online gaming has changed arcades. How it just doesn't matter here in the US. It doesn't matter anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like we see the effects of now we no longer have E3 anymore. We've seen the effects of how we no longer supporting physical copies, and we no longer have a lot of the experience of trading games, and all that stuff is going away if Game Pass continue to succeed. All that stuff goes away. We already um been basically been compromised with what we already have lost so far of the examples that I just gave. We've lost so much already that we will never get those experience again. And now it's just going to continue to get worse because all people care about is subscription services. And then once that happens, no more physical copies, and you also will not have a say so of what goes into the subscription service or what goes out. And then you're going to have more incomplete games. You're going to have more all this microtransaction stuff, and this all at the end of the day is just going to hurt the consumer as a whole. But it'll be too late already, in my opinion. Now you disagree with me, right?
No, I don't disagree with everything you said. It's just like a wait and see approach right now. Pretty much like we had like look, they're Microsoft. They're already in. They already have their foot in on Game Pass. So and with the delays of, and I mentioned this in my video, with the delays of Starfield and Redfall, it's not going to surprise me if a Madden launches day one on Game Pass. It's not going to surprise me if another big game, maybe from I don't know. I can't think of anything right now, but it wouldn't surprise me if you see a bunch of third party games released day one on Game Pass because Microsoft they put everything into Game Pass. They want this thing to work. They want it to work. So
Well, yeah, because like you said, they want to beat Sony. I guess they're so sick and tired of getting their butt whooped, by Sony every single generation, and so they want to rely on Game Pass, which I'm not looking forward to this, man. Like, I really don't like it. And what also made me realize how we are going to have a big change in the industry, and you're probably gonna laugh when I say this,
uh,
is when even you decided to buy the Xbox Series S instead of the X. And to me, that just tells me that eventually we're no longer going to have that option anymore. At the very least, you had the option to choose. You still had the option to choose, but there's going to be a time we no longer going to have that choice anymore, where we will have to buy a console where it will no longer have a disc drive. We're no longer going to be able to buy physical copies, and everything is going to be digital.
I think that's
And
what
then when
everyone wants.
everything goes digital, guess what happens? You don't have the freedom to do what you want with your games anymore. You can't trade your games. You won't be able to sell your games. You can't do anything with those games because everything is digital. Everything is just subscription based. That is lack of control on our part, and that's not what I want. That's not what I want.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what the future holds, man. But yeah, this is gonna be interesting. Now, the final topic, and hopefully we can make this short, is let me
You
see.
you you, you emphasize on short. So why?
Because like it's 1:30. It's almost 1:30. So we gotta get this shit. We gotta get this shit done.
Uh, Crap. Well, we would have been done, but we wanted to add the two video game topics. I
Yeah,
knew we probably should have waited till next week, but I understand why you wanted to talk about it.
that's fine. That's fine. All right. So because we've been wanting to talk about this for. I know you've been wanting to talk
No,
about it,
I wanted to talk about it, but yeah.
but it just been held back because they had other topics that are more pressing. But the reason why this came into the forefront now is because a couple days ago, U.S. Soccer has signed collectively bargained agreements with equal compensation for both U.S. men's and women's players. The agreement runs through 2028 and includes identical compensation for all competitions the two teams play. They will also split media broadcast money and ticket revenue equally. Also included are clauses that provide equal venue selection, travel arrangement, and advance notifications of training camps. So you have a problem with this. Why?
Well, hold on. There's still more. I want you to read the other one.
Um, that's it for that. I know you have an article on your side.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I do have an article on my side. Let me get to that.
Yeah.
Real quick. Before I explain why I disagree, but it clearly you are okay with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, clearly you are 100% fine with it, and
Hmm?
I find that to be very unfortunate that you are okay with this.
But why?
Um, well, I'll explain why. So, let me see. Is this it? Let me see. Let me make sure I have the correct article. Okay, okay. I have this one, and I also have. Okay. Um, Let me share this real quick, and then we'll get this thing started. And yeah, we'll make this quick because it is getting late. Um, so this is kind of similar, to what you were saying. The Union of the United States Men and Women's National Soccer Team has ratified new collection bargain agreement with U.S. Soccer that includes an equal split of World Cup bonuses. The federation and the two unions announced on Wednesday. Let me see, because there was a one important part that I wanted. Okay, yeah, this is the most important part.
Mhm.
The two CBA will go into effect on June and will last until the end of 2028. Now, to me, I think I don't know what's going to happen back then. I don't know if they are going to continue on with this agreement beyond that. But I am just before I express how I feel, I am going to assume or predict that once this deal is over by the end of 2028, I don't think this deal is going to be renewed. I think what's going to happen is eventually the men will probably get tired of this agreement, and they probably want to revert back to the way it usually was.
Why would you
Oh,
have a problem with it?
okay, I'll explain to you why. Um, the U.S. National Soccer Team Players Association, which represented the men players, had been operating without a CBA since the end of 2018. The deal for the U.S. Women's National Team Players Association expired at the end of 2021, though it has been extended. Okay, let me see. The agreements are promised kept by U.S. Soccer Federation President Cindy Parlow Cone, who had vowed that the new CBA would need to address the equal pay issue of World Cup bonuses. The CBA also put into effect the much celebrated financial settlement between the U.S. Women's National Team and Federation, which was announced in February after years of legal jostling. All right, let me see if there's any other important things. I don't think I care about this one. Uh, all right, yeah, there's a couple more stuff that I want to read, but yeah, let me explain why I have a problem with this. Okay, the reason why I have a problem, with this, split, or if you will, is because this split means that money is going to be taken away from what the men's make, and that will be provided to what the women is already making. This has nothing to do with extra money being poured out to the women. What's being happening is that money is being taken away. That's the problem that I have. It's being taken
You know
away
that for a fact?
from the men and being brought to the women's soccer team.
You know that for a fact.
Yeah, because that's what a split is.
Well, the split is that the men and women are finally going to be paid equally for their World Cup participation.
Okay, but in order for that split to happen, in order for the women to get that additional money, the money has to come from somewhere. The
Yeah,
money
yeah.
the money is not going to
We're not
the money is not going to drastically just appear and being poured to the women's side. It has to be
look.
taken from somebody.
It's not. It really doesn't. What this is that is essentially a new deal, right? Where the money that they're going to make is now going to be shared.
Okay, like I said,
And
in
the
order
thing
for
is
that
that
to happen, it has to be taken away.
the deals that they're going to make is going to net them more money. More than likely, it's going to make them more money.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, because look, the reason why this was the issue in the first place is because the women's team were under compensated for all their success.
Not that that's not true.
Yeah, it is. Compared to the men, they were undercompensated. They didn't get the same amenities when it comes to their stays, and when it comes to hotels, training facilities, none of that. Despite the fact they've been the more successful group than the men.
Yeah, because the men is the one that generates the more revenue. That's why.
That's not true.
That is true.
That's not true.
It is true.
No, it's not true.
Because it's right here. In 2018, the Men's World Cup was watched by a record-breaking 3.72 billion people worldwide.
Here's the problem though.
To put that in
Wait,
perspective,
wait, wait, wait,
I
wait.
want to finish reading. Let me finish
No, no,
reading.
no, 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 no. Okay,
To
I'm
put that in
I'm going.
perspective,
Steve.
that
Let me
means
say this. Let
that
me say
over
this.
half the
Let me
world
say
was
this.
watching the
Steve,
tournament at some
I want
point.
to say this. In 2018, the U.S. men were not part of that World Cup.
The men was not part of that World
The
Cup.
U.S. men weren't part of that World Cup.
Yes,
They missed the World Cup.
okay, but okay, wait. So no man was a participant. No men.
The men's U.S. soccer team was not part of that World Cup.
Okay, that's fine.
What do you mean that's fine?
Okay, that's fine. But this does not include any women at all.
What are you talking about?
Because that's why I wanted to finish reading. To put in perspective, that means that over half the world was watching the tournament at some point. In contrast, the most recent Women's World Cup, which was held back in 2015, reached a still impressive but lesser 764 million. The women has nothing to do with this 3 billion right here.
And neither did the U.S. men. We're not talking about World Cup in general. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the U.S. men and the U.S. women.
Yeah, but the men still, even if the men does not make the World Cup, I think they still, get a bonus, even if they don't even qualify.
You can't get a World Cup bonus if you don't make the World Cup.
Don't they get a bonus for?
They get compensated
That's what I'm talking about.
for playing. They get
Yeah,
compensated.
yeah.
But they don't. But when it comes to revenue, I don't. I don't know for a fact if they do. I guarantee you that the differences between the two are not that big when it comes to revenue between the men and the women.
Oh yeah, I think it's huge.
Not for the U.S. men and women. I'm not talking about the rest of the world. I'm talking about U.S. men and women.
Yeah, I think there's a big. I think there's a because it always has been.
Based on what?
It never there's never been a case where the women had more viewership than the men.
You know that for a fact? Because I don't think that's true.
The women had more viewership.
Yeah, because I had an argument with a guy on Twitter about it years ago.
What did the guy say?
He just stupid shit. That's what he was saying.
All right, what did you say?
I pretty much told him.
Dude, you're like mad thirsty, man.
No. My throat gets dry from time to time, so I have to drink.
Mm-hmm.
Like I told him that the highest rated soccer matches between the men's team and the women's team belongs to the women. Belong to the women, and it makes sense. They're the ones that have won that they've actually won World Cups. The men's never won a World Cup.
Yeah, but it's still overall, the most popular when you compare the two.
Yeah, I don't think
If you just want to bring just the U.S. or if you want to say worldwide, they have more viewership.
and I told you that's not true. I told you that's not true. Like for the rest of the world, yes, it's true. For in this country, that's not entirely true. Because you can't. How can you have more viewership if you're not in championship games? If you're not in the World Cup,
Well, even if that's the case, that doesn't mean a lot of people are watching the women's World Cup, even if the men are not partaking in that World Cup. It doesn't really matter. If you still have less people, if the overall um, number is that people still prefer to watch the men, it doesn't matter if the women are going to World Cup because at the end of the day, it's what the viewership is that matters. If the
and
men
I'm
receive
telling
more
you,
viewership, it
and I'm
doesn't really
telling you
necessarily matter if they
that
went to World Cup or not.
the viewership for the women are higher than the viewership for the men.
All right, show me the numbers on that.
All right, let me see if I can find some numbers. Now, I will say this: if the men ever made it to a World Cup, that's going to be the most viewed World Cup in the history of soccer. Let me see. How do I phrase this? Here you go. Here you go. The first thing they see here, the final match in the 2015 World Cup was watched by 25 million viewers, which easily makes it the most watched soccer match in U.S.
I can't see anything.
All right, let me click on the article.
But you got to share it because I
Oh
can't.
yeah, oh my bad, my fault. All right,
You wanted to keep me out of the loop on purpose.
no, you can read it right here.
All right, let me see.
Okay, hold on. Let me go to Google. It's the first thing when you type it in on Google. That's the first thing that it shows.
It
Highest
says
rated.
it's unavailable.
Here, right here, right here, right here,
Okay.
right here. And we're talking about U.S. women. World Cup match. Now the overall record is the World Cup for the men, but it's not between the U.S. But it had no U.S. teams in it. It was Argentina and Germany. That had just over 26 million. Both of them are at 26 million.
Mm-hmm.
But the highest involving the women is the U.S. Women's World Cup final against Japan. That's the highest one.
As far as viewership, right?
Yeah.
So you get let me see it again. Most viewed soccer games in U.S. history.
Let me click on it. Now you look at some of the other ones. You have obviously you have the U.S. men there for USA and Portugal. I remember that game. USA and Belgium. I remember that game. USA and Ghana. I remember that game. And then you had the women's game, the '99 World Cup final between USA and China,
Mm-hmm.
which at the time was the highest. At the time was the highest, and then and it was the highest at that point, even more higher than the men at the time. But then you look at when the men's team started getting better.
Are you talking about the you talking about the U.S. right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like,
So
and
they don't have the overall. They just have they just you
no,
just
this United States, because that's the most important thing right here. Because like I agree with you. In the world, men's soccer is obviously more popular than women's soccer. That's obvious. But in this country, it's not. It's a little bit more even. The problem is that their compensation and their treatment haven't been even. That's the problem.
no. I disagree with that because you have to remember the women have guaranteed contracts. The men don't. That's the part that I think you forgot. Women
Well,
have
the reason
guaranteed
why, the reason why,
and to put it into practice, when COVID had actually happened, men received no money. No money.
I have
The women
to listen to that.
actually got like or $3 million for not playing. They had guaranteed contracts whether if they wanted to play or not.
I have.
The men doesn't have that.
Do you have that anywhere in your area in your?
I had it before, but but wait a minute. You follow soccer more than I do. How did you not know
Yeah,
that?
I don't look at soccer pay like that.
You watch soccer a lot, haven't
Okay,
you?
that's fine, but I don't look at their bank accounts. I don't know that for a fact. But the
Come on.
facts are, if what you're saying is true, it makes sense because on the men's side, they make more money with their club teams. Far more money in their men's teams on the club side. The women, most of the women, if not all the women, their notoriety comes from the national team. On the men's side, that's not the case on the men's side. Not the case on the men's side. That's why this situation is complicated in some ways, but in other ways, if they're performing at a level that is the best in the world, in which they've been over the past 20, 30 years, they need to be compensated as such.
Yeah, but it should not, but not in a way where it's taking money from the men's side though. That's the part where it loses me. And not only do they have guaranteed contracts, you also have to remember the women also have all these special bonuses on the women's side that the men don't have. Like when it comes to like health insurance, when it comes to health benefits, vacation pay, all that other stuff is only on the women's side.
I,
The
again,
men, the men doesn't receive any of those benefits. Any of all those other perks, the men does not receive.
again,
So,
I have to look that up.
so you mean
But
it? So when you think about it, the women is the one is actually getting paid more because the men is not even receiving any of those bonuses.
look,
So what the women want is to keep the bonuses that they already have, plus make the same amount of money that the men makes. That's not equal to me.
again, I have to look into these things that you're saying. But at the end of the day, if they were getting compensated fairly, they wouldn't be complaining.
Well, it is fair because it's the same way how the WNBA was complaining about the NBA.
Okay,
Of
wait,
course,
that's a difference. There's a big difference there. There's a big difference. The WNBA doesn't generate the same type of revenue that the NBA makes, not close. And the franchise don't make enough money to compensate the women the same way that they compensate the men. But when it comes to participation in the Olympics, for example, I don't know what the compensation is when it comes to that, but I would assume that the compensation between for the men and women to compete in an Olympic style event, an Olympic style setting, again, it's not the same. It's not the same exact thing. But if they're participating in this Olympics, they have to be compensated fairly. At least they should be the same day. At least they should be because they're volunteering to play for an organization that's not really technically paying them, the same way that their club team would pay them.
okay. Here it is. I'll answer your about that, but this is the one that I was talking about.
Okay.
So this was obviously before that. You can see the date in 2020, but this is very important, and this is the reason why that I disagree with the whole new agreement, and this is why. At the beginning, the judge rejects equal pay claims by the U.S. women's soccer team.
Mhm.
Now, the U.S. soccer team gender discrimination lawsuit deflated Friday when the federal judge in Los Angeles granted U.S. Soccer Federation summary judgment, finding women earned more in accumulative pay and rejecting claims women would have earned more under the men's team pay structure. The ruling issued on an International Working Day strikes a blow to the Women's World Cup holding fight for equal pay, which appeared to have the win the win at the back after a shakeup of leadership at the U.S. Soccer and a string of demonstrations by fans who chanted equal pay at live games. Fan disappointment rained down on U.S. Soccer last month after it argued playing for the women's national team required less skill, responsibility, and ability than playing for the men's national teams. The players, including teams like Charlie, Lloyd, Alex
Carly
Morgan,
Lloyd,
Charlie, right?
Carly.
Carly, yeah, I say Charlie. So yeah, my mistake. And Megan Rapinoe say that the lawsuit, the federation has only paid lip service to stated goals of gender equity. For example, by not paying women the same game bonuses men national team players receive. Okay, so let's go. Okay, I think this is it right here. Okay, so the federation had argued World Cup organization FIFA, soccer global governing body, shared the blame for vastly smaller cash prizes for women national team who clinched the coveted trophy.
Mhm.
At 2018 World Cup in Russia, FIFA awarded 38 million to the French men's national soccer team, but awarded only 4 million a year later to the U.S. women's team when they took home first place in the tournament. The women's team said in their own summary judgment a motion on award of 67 million damages would be provided fair compensation for years of unequal pay. But the district judge, Gary Closener, whatever, found in favor of the federation, saying in a 32-page order Friday that women play under the contract for which they collectively bargained. All right.
Mhm.
So the history of the negotiation between the parties demonstrate that the women's national team rejected an offer to be paid under the same pay to play structure as the men. See that this is very important. They already offered the exact same pay that the men already received.
No,
Yeah, yes,
no,
yes.
that's not what it says. No, that's not what it says.
Look what it said. The history and negotiation between the parties demonstrate that the women's national team, women's, rejected an offer. Rejected. That's the key
Mhm.
word here.
Yeah,
To be paid
that's not
under
true.
the same pay to play structure as the men. They
Mhm.
rejected it. They said they didn't want it. So
They didn't want the structure.
okay. They didn't want the structure. So where's the whole equal stuff if they gave you the opportunity to take what the man is making?
The men don't need the men don't need to be paid that much because a lot of the time their club teams are paying them more.
Well, how that's not their problem.
No, it is their problem because you want to have the best players play. You want to have the best players playing for your national team. And
But
in order to do
at the
it,
end of the day, they still said no. They didn't want it.
okay, but they didn't want the structure. They wanted something that was better for them. That's something that would pay them more because they don't make the same on the club side. Here's the difference, right? Here's the difference between the men's soccer and women's soccer. All right, or at least in this country. I can't speak for other countries. I'm only speaking in this country.
Hmm.
In this country, the women's soccer players are more popular than the men's soccer players on a domestic level. Globally, the men players are more popular.
Hmm.
So for example, name a women's soccer player that you know about.
That gay chick. I forgot her name, but I think you know what I'm talking about. The
There are
lesbian
multiple
chick.
there are multiple women on that team that's gay.
I can't remember her name.
Megan Rapinoe.
Her. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And you've heard of Hope Solo, right?
No,
You never heard of Hope Solo?
no.
Okay. All right. Regardless, I would argue that among United States people in the United States that she's probably the most popular. Um, she's probably the most popular soccer player wearing the United States shirt.
Hmm.
Obviously, because of her playing, plus the stuff that she does outside of soccer.
Okay.
But worldwide, and in places in the United States as well, you can argue that a guy named Christian Pulisic is the most popular United States player.
Hmm.
He plays for Chelsea, which is a global brand. It's a soccer team in England, but they're a global brand, right? I have no clue where Megan Rapinoe plays in her club team because they don't get the same type of profile as the men players do.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the World Cup, whenever every 4 years, she's one of the people in the forefront.
When it comes to the World Cup.
Yeah, when the Women's World Cup, she's one of the premier players being featured in all the commercials and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like so it's it's unique in that kind of way. right? It's kind of like if you would say that the women's basketball team is more popular than the men's basketball team,
Mm-hmm.
but we all know that's not true because the global brands when it comes to basketball are all in the NBA. You know, the Lakers, Celtics, Heat, all those teams, right? They're a global brand,
Yeah.
and you know when it comes to the women's basketball, they don't really have any global brands because domestic basketball for women are not is not on the same level, and the same thing goes with the women's soccer team. Women's soccer domestically is not on the same level. Now it's getting there in Europe. There's certain places in Europe where it's growing, but in this country, it's not a thing. It really isn't a thing. So, from based on what I can tell from the article that you read and the article that I read, and the stuff that I've read in the past, is they want to be compensated for their success.
Okay. Hold that thought,
Mm-hmm.
because this is where it really gets good. Accordingly, plaintiffs cannot now retroactively deem their collective bargaining agreement worse than the men's national team CBA by reference to what they would made have been paid under the men's pay to play term structure when they themselves rejected such a structure. Klesner, I think that's how you say it, accepted the Federation argument that the women's team equal pay act claims fail since they've not proven U.S. soccer paid women less than men who played in a similar capacity at the national level. This is the good one here. During the class period, the women's team made 24 million for 111 games played, while the men teams earned 18.5 million for 87 games played,
Mm-hmm.
meaning the women earned more per game. So the women was already receiving more money already. Now I could understand why they're saying, well, when it comes to the bonuses, that they want the same share amount of bonuses. But the problem is, even with that, you already have all these perks and all these benefits on your side. And now, when it comes to this, the reason why the judge rejected this in the first place is because they were already getting paid more already. They already got paid more. So, where is the unfairness here when you're already getting paid more money? I don't get it. To me, it's all a lie, in my opinion. All of it's a lie. You explain this to me, Havenel.
All right, let me do the calculation on that. 24 million for 111.
You doing it right now on your phone?
Yeah, trying to figure out how to do that in percentages. That's not right. Man, it's gonna take a while. It
All
takes.
right, but okay. Here's my overall point.
Mhm.
I honestly believe that all the only reason why that the women were saying that they weren't getting paid was because, one, they didn't want to have the exact same structure as the men got. Because in my opinion, well, I think this is a fact. I think the reason why they said no in the first place was because that also mean that they would have to given up all their benefits and all the perks that they're already receiving, that the men is not receiving. They would have to give that up if they wanted to have the exact same structure as the men. And two, um, I also think because of this whole, men versus female, this all this, pay gap, nonsense. I think the pressure was on the organization, that they decided to, you know what, with all the controversy, with all the headaches, with all the, because remember they did sue for, I think, for like what, 24 million, I believe. There was a settlement for like 24 million. So to get rid of
Yeah,
all
it's
that.
sued, but the money thing is not just the only thing they're suing about.
Yeah, but I think the overall, point was that they felt that they weren't being treated unfairly regarding to the money, because that's what they were really going after.
Obviously,
Was-
obviously if you're doing this in court, you're going after the money. But that's not the only reason why they sued.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, though,
No, okay, I get. Look, you're not gonna get anything without the reason why the settlement was a big deal was because obviously the equal pay, but it was also the improvement when it comes to training facilities and hotel stay. Because there's stories about how these women, and these are World Cup women who've won World Cups, and they're staying in 2 and 3 star hotels, while the men who've done nothing stay at 5 star hotels. That's not fair.
well, here's my opinion when it comes to stuff like that, and that also includes when it comes to equipment and things of that nature. In my personal opinion, whoever is making the majority of the money, regardless of any sport. This is not just a soccer thing. I'm just talking about overall. Which, regardless of who is bringing the more money, that's the person or that's the individual or that's the organization that you invest more into, in my opinion. To me, I think part of that is the investment part. But the thing is, people ignore that and say, "Oh, you're just not treating me, as fairly as they do." I
Well,
honestly
you
believe,
guys actually try to invest into something, especially if it's something that's successful.
yeah. But if yeah, but the part that you're missing is that I forgot who someone gave a really good example, because they gave remember the whole situation about this chick saying that their gym was not as was not the same as the men's gym. I forgot what school that was, but somebody had brought up a really good point. If you are going to invest more money into an organization that's bringing you more money, I don't think that has anything to do with discriminating the other sex. I honestly believe if you want to invest more money into a company that's been more successful, that actually makes more sense. But the thing is, that's how that's one of the basic things of how companies work, how businesses work, how economics work. When your company is generating more money, you obviously going to invest into that company.
Let me ask you a question. So, if let's say for example, me and you, we we um we go to a competition, right? You obviously the company invests in you. We're part of the same team, but we're competing in different avenues, right? They've
Mm-hmm.
invested more into you than they have to me. So when I get hurt, that means, and let's say we both get hurt, you go to a 5 star hospital, I go to a 2 star hospital. Do you think that's fair?
Yeah,
How's it fair?
because I'm the one that's bringing in the more money than you are, or
So
vice versa.
that means that they treat me like shit in the process because since they don't invest in me, then they give them the right to treat me like shit, basically.
No, I don't think it has anything to do with treating you like garbage. I think it's the same.
That's
I
how
think
that's how I'm gonna feel.
that's just how it is when it comes to, because you could use that same example when it comes to a regular vehicle and a luxury vehicle. You obviously have to spend more money on the luxury one because it performs better.
But is it more long last? Are you going to treat it any different if you have a regular vehicle as opposed to a luxury vehicle?
Of course,
I
having
would argue no. I would
come on,
argue
come on,
no.
come on, having a
I would
if
argue
you
no.
having a seriously, let's think about this, real quick, because that's why I brought the whole vehicle thing. If you had a Lamborghini, you are going to treat that thing more than your regular your Ford Taurus. Yes, you are.
Okay, but if I have a scratch on the Ford Taurus, that means I have the right to not take care of it.
No,
Then why the hell do I have it then?
if you had a scratch on both, your main priority is the Lamborghini or the
If
Bugatti.
I'm not driving the Lamborghini or the Bugatti every day, am I? I'm going to take care of what I'm going to take care of whatever I need to take care of.
Yeah, but I could understand if that's all that you had. But we're talking about if you had both.
Okay,
And
I'm taking care of both
if
because
you had,
I spent money on both.
yeah, but you're still going to spend more money on the Lamborghini though.
it's only because it's probably going to cost more. Not because
Exactly.
not because I care about it more or less. It's because the nature of it is it costs more.
Yes.
But just because
The investment that you put into a particular device, or an organization, by default you are going to invest and put more money into the one that's actually giving you more money.
no, that don't make any sense to me.
It doesn't.
No, it doesn't. Because okay, based on your analogy, if I have a scratch on both cars, I'm gonna take care of both cars. Like that's just how it's gonna be. I'm like one is likely gonna cost more than the other because of the nature of what both cars are.
All right. Maybe here's a better example: the NBA. Don't you think that the organization obviously put more an investment on LeBron James than opposed to some role player?
Obviously, but the facts are that if a role player is hurt,
But that's not. Are you going to say? Oh, that's you're going to say that's not fair, right? No, what you're going to
no,
say is
no, no,
tough luck because
no,
LeBron
no, no,
James is the
no, no,
more.
no. But if they get hurt, if something bad happened to that role player, I have to treat him like I would do the same thing for LeBron James. I'm not going to treat him. I'm not going to treat him any less. Then it's one thing if LeBron James is doing what he's doing, like let's say if he's partying late at night and all the other stuff and still can drop 40, then yeah, he can do whatever he wants as long as he can perform. That's fine. I'm talking about situations where when it comes to amenities, when it comes to health, I have to treat them equal. I have to treat them equal. Were you saying that someone saying, oh, the woman complaining about the gym equipment, she has every right to complain about the gym equipment because they bought them out. They bought them out there to play a sport, and at the time they weren't even getting paid. So if you're going to bring these women out there to do this thing for you guys, then give them some good equipment.
Yeah, but to say that it should be just to say that you have two teams, one is making you money, one is barely making you any money. Why should I put in the equal amount of investment
I
when
didn't know.
both of them
Don't
are?
run the tournament.
Hold on, hold on,
If
hold
you
on.
don't run
Why
the tournament.
why give an equal amount of investment when I'm not getting an equal amount of return? It doesn't make any sense.
Then don't run the tournament. Then don't run the tournament. If you can't afford to give them the same gym equipment as the men do, then don't run the tournament.
But Hubi, what you're saying is what you're saying is you're basing it on of what somebody else is making, not based on how much the organization is making as a whole.
According in her mind, that doesn't matter. In her mind, that doesn't matter because she's the one that had to travel over there to play for her team. And if you're going to have the temerity to bring them over there to compete in the tournament, give them the proper amenities.
No,
Give them the proper amenities.
what you mean by proper amenities is give the exact same investment like you did with the men.
It don't
Despite,
even
despite
honestly, it
Go
don't
ahead.
even have to be the same. Just not garbage. Not garbage.
Okay. So you agree that it doesn't have to be the same.
It don't have to be the same. But
Okay,
it
okay,
can't be
okay. So
bad.
we
It can't
agree.
be
So we
garbage.
agree with that. No, I agree that it shouldn't be trash.
Yeah,
But
and according to what some of these women had, based on what the lawsuit says in this thing, going all the way back to this, a lot of it has more to do with the way that they were treated when it comes to their hotel stays and their equipment and their their training conditions and all the other stuff. You know what I mean? Like, okay, again, if you don't want to pour in the same amount of money that you do with the men, that's fine. Whatever. Don't give them garbage to work with.
oh,
Es-
I agree with that. I
Especially
100% agree with that.
especially if they're providing you with results. If they're giving you results and you're treating them like garbage, imagine what they would do if you actually treated them correctly. And that's the whole, and that's really the whole point of my whole thing. It's the same thing that I said about the WNBA. It's the same thing I said about all these other sports. If you want to compete, if you want to, whether you want to generate more revenue, if you want to attract more people, you have to spend the money. You have to make the investment.
Yeah, but you make the investment and expecting that you are going to have a good return. That's what the investment is for.
Obviously, but if it's not, if you don't think it's worth it, then don't do it.
Well, that's what I said before, but you disagree with me. But I guess you agree.
No. The reason why for example, with the WNBA, right? The reason why the NBA is supporting the WNBA is because they don't want to see the league fail. They don't want to see the league fail. It's a bad look for the NBA if the WNBA fails. Even if their revenue is not affected, they don't want to see the league fail. Because look, at the end of the day, regardless of women, young women, regardless of whether or not they prefer the WNBA to the NBA, at the end of the day, when they grow up, they can't play in the NBA. So they need a place to play. And the reason why the NBA has invested in the WNBA is because they want to see the league succeed.
And I 100% understand that, but until the consumer, until the people actually speaks and say that we want that product, there's really no further investment that needs to be made if the people don't want it. If the people don't want if the people don't want it, there is no product.
At the end of the day, that's what their mindset is. That's what their mindset is. They want to see the product succeed. And like I said, everything regarding how how things go when it comes to viewership, that's something that they have to deal with. But they're not going to just let the league fail, because that's not good for them.
I think they should just let it fail and just start over.
No,
start over and start from scratch, because if you had 2 decades to try to get this thing right and nothing has worked, you got to start from scratch.
Mm-mm.
And like I said before, you said no, but like I said before, you need to either start from scratch or make adjustments, whether if it's lowering the rim, maybe have less players, maybe have a 4-on-4 instead of a 5-on-5, have more grip on the ball so that they could improve more ball handling, maybe make the diameter of the hoop just slightly larger. Do something to make the sport more entertaining so that people could watch.
Okay,
But
regardless of all that, like I don't even care about none of that. At the end of the day, they don't want to see the product fail. They don't want to do it. That's why what's the point of starting over? What's the point? Like you're already 20 years in, and like I said, and I already gave you examples. The NBA didn't become super popular until the 80s. And they were around they're around for years. You know what I mean? MLS, the soccer league down here, the soccer league in this country, they've been around for 20 plus years. Like they're steadily growing. So like you can't. So like,
but the NBA, even at that time, I don't think they were losing money like the way the WNBA is.
I mean, we don't know. We don't know that.
I think they were still making money.
No, we don't know that because like I said, if a team's moving and stuff like that, which happened a lot during that time, like I mean, they weren't making any money. Like at the end of the day, like if you want something to succeed, you have to put money into it. You have to. Like these women. And look, it's a lot worse in other countries. Like in Brazil, for example, they have a very good women's soccer team, but their federation puts no money into it. And how can you expect something to succeed if you don't put no money into it?
Is it very popular over there? Like, is it as popular as the men?
No, not even close. Not even close. But the facts are is that if you're not putting money into it, if you're not putting these athletes up front, If you're not promoting, because they had one of the greatest women's soccer players of all time on their team, and she in the last World Cup she was in, she's in tears, begging the federation, don't forget about these girls. You have a lot of great women soccer players around there. Put money into the federation.
She was crying to them.
Yeah, on national TV. Like, you have if you want something to succeed, if you're going to waste your time putting all this stuff together, at the very least put money into it. Because I don't want to hear people bitching, complaining, oh, they don't make as much money as the men. Then why are you fucking running a tournament then? If you're doing all this shit to run a tournament, put the proper money into it. That's all they have to do. And if it don't work, then it don't work. Then move on.
Well, I mean, is that your final take?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, overall, this is the reason why I decided, to read, this article here.
Actually, let me say one thing.
Mm.
When it comes to this, let me give you my last thoughts about this. Like I said before, when it comes to this, to the women, like whatever they were getting paid before, and whatever they were dealing with before, clearly that wasn't enough for them. Clearly, and despite what, and regardless of what, because like I said, I don't know how much they were getting paid. I don't know. But the facts are is that these women are very popular. The program is popular, and if you want,
Dude, man, that was nasty.
yeah. Like if you want this program to succeed, you can't have this laying over your head. You can't, because you have a successful program, and you have a lot of young girls growing up, aspiring to be part of this program. And you not only do you not want the program to fail, you don't want the world catching up to you. Because like I said before, they have league. You have the most popular teams in Europe are investing in women's soccer. And if you're not willing to do that down here, you're going to get left behind, and that's not good for nobody.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to invest into something, you have to go all in. You have to go all in, and this bargaining agreement is the right step to getting there.
Well,
Like I said before, the men will be fine. They'll be fine. They make all the money from the club teams. They have like they'll be fine, right? But you have a program that's working. You have to make it work. You have to make it work. And so far, even despite the lack of commitment and lack of investment, it's worked. Don't slack off now. Don't slack off now. So you had the last word.
yes. Look, I hear what you're saying, but at the end of the day, though, for me, based on the articles that you read and the two articles that I read,
Mm-hmm.
Once again, I believe that whatever the men was making is because they are the more popular sport figure to watch, and unfortunately the women is in almost in all sports, where I think with the exception of of tennis, women really cannot they just cannot compete when it comes to WNBA, and the NBA is not even close. The NFL and the lingerie, whatever you call it, is not even close. You know, I just really don't. And when it comes to soccer, it's not even close. When it comes to popularity, even you said it, worldwide, it's not even close. So I honestly believe that if the men is making more money and it's because it's a more popular sport, then that's just how it should be. You reward the people who is generating the most money. That's what you do. They are the ones that's bringing in the more money, the more revenue. So you reward them and you invest more into the people because they are the ones that's giving you the return. Now,
Even if they're not
when
as good.
Yeah, because even if they're not as good, if they're still more popular, then in this is it really it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't
I
matter.
don't agree with that at all.
No, the reason why I say it is because it doesn't matter how much you accomplish. It's the demand that the people are asking for. If people are asking for your product more than the other product, then obviously the product that the people that are asking for are getting rewards more.
All right, let me ask you a quick question. All right, now, because based on what you're saying, because the men's game is more popular, that means the men should get paid more, regardless of country or region.
If they, dude, man, you're
I'm good. I'm good. Continue.
yeah, my
Continue.
gosh, yeah. If yeah, because the same way how it is, with the NBA, because that's the best example that we could give. The same way, how it is, in the NBA, because they're more popular, because they're bringing in more money, because obviously you have a much more return when you invest on these players and then the organization. They obviously are the ones that should get paid more.
What's more? Then what's more important? Return on your investment or winning?
Of course, winning is very very important. But if you're not making any money, what's the point?
I mean,
What's the point if nobody's making money?
then something has to go away.
Yeah, it's a package deal. Let's just say it like that. It has to be package deal.
But we still have women's matches. We still have women's soccer. We still have women's World Cup. Like, so clearly the money's there.
Yeah,
Clearly the
yeah,
money's there.
yeah. The money's there, but it's. I mean,
And
three point 5 billion to 770 million is not even close.
that's fine. But like I said before, when it comes to the men's team, the men wasn't even in that World Cup. So
Yeah,
so the example that I want to give to you, if a soccer player comes into if because you because all right, Barcelona is going to be coming down here to play Inter Miami. I guarantee you, Inter Miami is going to have more fans at that arena than they've ever had. But we all know why they're there. They're not there to see them. They're there to see Barcelona. And I would argue the same thing happens there. Like when it comes to the men's team, for the longest time, they didn't come there to see them. In a lot of cases, they came there to see the opponent because the opponent had the bigger stars. They had the biggest names. For
hmm
the women on our side, we had the biggest names. We had the top talent. So why can't we pay them accordingly?
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but if as long as they are not making it the same amount of bringing in the amount of revenue as the men are, it doesn't really necessarily matter.
Does that mean then you're saying that winning don't matter?
No, no. What I'm saying is, if you win, but no money is being made, that doesn't matter.
Well, obviously, yeah, but at the end of the day, you pay those people to win. You
Yeah,
invest your time to win.
yeah. But once again, if no money is being made, like how we gave examples, with the WNBA when they lost like what $15 million. If it regardless of how many times you win, if you're not generating any money, if nobody's watching, you know, shareholders are going to say no thanks. I'm not going to invest in you. I'm going to go elsewhere. And look, I understand what you're saying, but that's just how business works as a whole throughout everything. That's just how it is.
I mean,
The more money you make, the more money we will invest. The less money you make, the less money that's going to pour into the
but
company.
that mindset is why we get shitty products too. Because why would you care about putting the best equipment in, getting the best talent, doing all that? If you make money and you put something that's not great, but it makes money, then hey, that's how it is. I don't agree with that philosophy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's fine. But like, I want to get say this last final thing. If if the men if this split has anything to do with the men. Money is being taken away from the men so that it could be poured into the women. That's not fair. The fact that women has all these perks and benefits and health insurance and the men doesn't, that's not fair. And based on what I read to you, the women was already making more money anyway, so that's not fair. So all of those things, to me, the women was just complaining over nothing, in my opinion. And unfortunately, I honestly hope that the men, because you say the men will be fine. I just hope that this doesn't bite, the women in the rear end, and the men is going to also be going for lawsuits. That's not what I want, because now it's just going to go back and forth, and all it is going to cause more drama instead of actually focusing on winning.
The men have nothing to complain about. They have nothing to complain about.
Well, the fact that they don't have any of those perks, I mean, I think that's a complaint.
I mean, if they if they get hurt, they're not gonna take care of it out of their own pocket. Trust me. Trust me. Either the club's gonna take care of them, or the United States Federation gonna take care of them.
All right, well, we'll see. But anyway, I mean, it was a good discussion, overall. I thought we were going to start yelling at each other and start cursing, but it actually became a good discussion. Um, yeah. So I want to just say that everyone, thanks for watching. Ethan, Anointed, 1988, Nolan. Appreciate you guys, for watching. Um, we do have obviously next week we're going to be talking about Gotham Knights. Definitely looking forward to that. And having we need to definitely make plans of the whole Street Fighter tier list. We kept on putting that stuff on hold and making delays on that. But we will definitely talk about that stuff. But yeah, this is pretty much it. This is the Traditionalist 101 signing out. Have a
This
good
is
one.
Hoovy 186. Thank you guys for watching. We out.